Part 48. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 477. Mr. Muramatsu, what is going on? Narita Hiro did not dare to confirm. How can an old man who is over 50 years old with gray hair call a kid who is only 20 years old young master? He was sure he didn't have the wrong person. Before coming to Tokyo, he confirmed it countless times. The answer is definitely not. Because he has no money, his current wife still refuses to let him go home. He has nothing to do, so he often hangs out on the commercial streets in Gifu Prefecture. And every time I wander around, I'll see the big screen in the commercial complex. A commercial building and a big screen displaying advertisements day and night. Staring at these buildings, at this advertising screen, at the luxury shops and fancy restaurants in the commercial complex. He felt in his heart that the 40 million yen he had spent in the past could barely buy a quarter of the land for the shop in this building. It costs 40 million to buy a piece of land. How much does it cost to cover it all? 80 million? 100 million? How much does it cost to renovate? How much do the items inside cost? How much money do celebrities who appear in commercials and become nationally famous earn in a year? Every time he looked at the girls filming commercials on the screen, he was very envious. He was so lucky to have such a huge amount of wealth at such a young age. Why can't I have it myself? This idea has been lingering on him for a long time, and his dreams at night are all sweet dreams that he can get rich again. But every time I wake up in a cramped rental house, what I see and remember is always my wandering past of misery. Lament, regret, complain. He has to face these negative emotions every day, and he also has to plead with his wife every day to ask her to forgive him. He couldn't stand this kind of life. And these days changed until he passed by the commercial street and saw the girl on the screen. In fact, he had seen advertisements about Sakeki Harasuzu more than once. Fried chicken, animation promotion, candy endorsement. All of these are available. Every time he wandered by and saw these advertisements, he vaguely felt that this girl looked familiar, but he couldn't tell how familiar she was. This thought lingered around him. Out of desperation, he began to look up the name of the girl on the advertisement and her information. Sakeki Harasuzu. Sakeki Harasuzu. Sakeki Harasuzu. Why is her last name Sakakibara? And while she has the same surname as her ex-wife, she is also called Ling. He was ecstatic. But until this point, Narita Hiroshi still didn't dare to confirm whether this was his daughter. After looking through countless voice actor interviews and her Twitter account, I finally saw a list of band members' names shared by Suzu Sakakihara in a Twitter update from nearly a year ago. In this list, he saw another name, Sakakihara Raku. Bell.music. Bell.music. Not only are the two brothers and sisters, they are still 2 years apart. Narita Hiroshi was now sure that it was the two of them. He was so excited that he took off and immediately went to his wife to ask for some money. He collected the remaining living expenses, bought a plane ticket, and flew to Tokyo immediately. After some searching, I finally found out where my daughter was now. Finally met her and also met Ellie. But why would this old man, who looks like an executive of an entertainment company, call his son young master? What kind of young master is he? You still don't know his identity? The sky is blue, and the sun shines into the hall through the transparent glass curtain wall. Narita Hiroshi's slightly tired face was full of confusion. Mr. Muramatsu just shook his head when facing this middle-aged man who looked suspicious. Mr. Muramatsu. Okay, if you have any questions, I'll answer them. Sakeki Hararaku showed no expression. Ale, what's the matter with Mr. Muramatsu calling you master? Isn't he the talker of Sony Entertainment? Did this old guy lie to me? Sakeki Hararaku didn't care at all about his inappropriate title. Mr. Muramatsu is indeed the talker here. I just happen to have a good relationship with him. With some connections, you can let such a person call you master? Narita Hiro looked uncertainly at the faces of the people in front of him. What he cared about were the two twin girls behind Ellie. Although they had excellent temperaments, they could be disguised. It's very possible that he's a follower of this guy Ellie or something. The idols are all his little followers. Then he is probably the one who lifted up his sister? Is it possible that this kid Ellie is really prosperous? So the one who really makes a fortune is not his daughter, but his very obedient son. When he thought of this, Narita Hiro couldn't hold himself back any longer. It seems that this kid really needs to be coaxed. Sakakihara read some of his expressions and said bluntly, "Okay, you don't need to think about it. No matter what the situation is now, Suzu and I have nothing to do with you. Whatever you want to do, just say it directly, no need guess with me here." "Ale, are you really the young master? If you are talking about the relationship between Mr. Muramatsu and my current status, you can indeed say that. What is your mother doing now? Work. How is she doing after all these years? It's been fine in recent years. Brother. Don't talk nonsense to that guy. Let the security kick him out." Suzu Sakakihara bared her teeth and claws, "Not like an idol at all. If you don't do it, I'll kick him out." Ms. Sakakibara. If the security hadn't stopped her, she would have kicked that bastard first. Well. Narita Hiroshi saw his daughter who didn't understand him at all, looking sighing and plaintive. Coupled with the deep bags under his eyes, he looked even more exhausted. Sakakihara opened one eye slightly and looked at him, confirming that he was indeed the same person from the past. "What are you sighing for? Ale, you don't know that I have been miserable these past years. Every time I want to go back to find you, I am afraid that you will think I have run away. You are extremely resentful of me." Sakakihara Raku, "Really? Of course, I disappeared suddenly. There was a reason for it. You know the atmosphere in Shinjuku was not good at that time. Every time I came out of the pachinko parlor, some guys would blackmail me for some money. Although it is excessive, but it's okay. It's considered protection money." "What are you talking about? Didn't you win 40 million by betting on horse racing?" "What's 40 million? Ellie, do you really think that people who run racecourses have very clean hands and feet? You were young at the time, and you didn't understand. The grand prize in horse racing will always belong to the organizer, and I will give it back to the organizer. The protection fee paid by their opponents, even if I don't want to, is still labeled by Shinjuku. In this case, if Wakata knows that I won 40 million from them, can he let me go? Definitely not. That money is all just left with me for the time being." Narita Hiro's expression suddenly turned bitter. "Ale, you also know that we have been in Tokyo for so long, and we are still extremely poor. This 40 million is a huge sum of money to us. It can make our family happy for a lifetime. If I can take this 40 million in a logical way, can I not go home? They started to hunt me down, and threatened that if I didn't take out the hidden money, they would sink my whole family into Tokyo Bay. Ellie, can I not run away?" Sakakihara Raku remained quiet. "Ale, you should also know that after I left, did some people often come to ask the three of you for payment? They were the ones who came to ask for the money. They said that I owed them money, but I still pressed the button fingerprints. But in fact, they were all forged. Because they knew that you would be frightened and would not verify whether the fingerprints were really mine, so they tricked you into filling in the vacancies caused by that bill for me. Alas, Narita Hiroshi sighed again, and I have been chased by those people. I fled from Tokyo to more than a dozen cities, and arrived in the central region. That is not their territory, so I can hide with a little peace of mind. Even so, I have been stared at by those people, and I have always wanted to come back to find your sister," Narita Hiroshi said sadly and resentfully. Coupled with the deep bags under his eyes, his tired face and mottled white hair, he really looked like a man who had suffered for half his life. "Brother, don't believe his lies," Suzu Sakakibara raised her hands and interjected with anger on her face, "even if what he said is true. He hasn't come back once in more than 10 years. He still wants to come back to us. Lies. No. See how miserable we are living with my mother. It's true." Aling, seeing that his daughter didn't believe him, Narita Hiro emphasized again and whispered, "Although I'm not very good to you on weekdays and have a bad temper, you are still my children after all. Always I spent several years of my savings to cure him of forgetful things. You know this too, Ailing, right?" "You." Sakakihara Suzu was speechless for a moment, but she could refute everything else. "Only this. This guy has always been a jerk. But in the case of my brother, it was indeed his illness that he spent his savings on. Ailing, do you think I don't want to come back to you? I think I don't have the face to come back to you. I have always hidden the 40 million in a rental house in Tokyo, under the wooden plywood of the carpet. With great difficulty, I went back secretly, thinking about my little money, and then gave most of the money to you for secret use. The result? The result is that the money is not there at all. Alinga Eli, think about it, I don't have any money to give you. I ran away halfway. Do I still have the nerve to go back to see you? Why don't you just treat me as dead? As for those who make things difficult for you, I can only wrong you for a while. Well, they know you don't have much money, so if you don't come out with a few people, the police will search them after a while, so they will naturally give up. It sounds like quite a hard life. Ale, do you understand me?" Sakakibara touched his chin. "I understand, but since you don't have the face to see us, why are you coming back?" Narita Hiroshi looked at his son, who was much taller than him. He was speechless for a long time, and said sadly, "Didn't I see the advertisement shot by Suzu over there, and accidentally found out that you two brothers and sisters actually have such a thing now? While I am happy about the achievement, I also want to come back and see you. Look at us. Is that the tone just now? Isn't this? Ellie, isn't this my character? If I were less optimistic and more slippery, how could I still be alive today? Your question means I haven't told the truth to anyone in many years. Of course that's the tone now. Ale, Dad knows that he's wrong, so just for the sake of your mother and the sake of me treating you, try to forgive me, okay?" Sakakibara stared at his pleading and pitiful look and pondered for a moment. "Then do you need money?" How can I have the nerve to ask you for money? Hey kid, how can you say that? I know I was shameless in the past, but now I know I have treated you badly. I came here to find Aling, just to see her. No, I thought she would start fighting me when she saw me. My past temper came out all at once, and now people think that dogs don't love me. It's good if I can eat enough. You really don't want it? No need. Narita Hiroshi hesitated for a moment, then shook his head. Then let's go. Since we have paid a visit, Suzuya and I have our own lives now. There is no need to dwell on the past. Since you don't need money anymore? Then I don't need to give you the money you spent to treat me. Of course. As Raku Sakakibara spoke, he turned his head and glanced at Nanami Nanami Izuki beside him, like a young man, gesturing for her to pay. Amami Nanamijetsu glanced at Sakakibara Raku on purpose, then opened the satchel beside her, took out a Sumitomo Mitsui bank card and handed it to him. Ale, what are you going to do? Narita Hiroshi asked cautiously. Sakakibara answered him seriously, I was actually testing you, father. If you came back to ask us for money, then I would naturally not be able to give it to you. But if you treat our family out of your own identity, if you still have that little bit of care, then I think I still have to give you some care. What? Sakakihara Suzu shouted loudly immediately. Ms. Sakakibara, Miss Sakakibara. Please be patient. The security guard stopped him with helpless expressions. Brother, you still want to give him money? Don't give him a penny. He's just a bastard. Isuzu, how can you say this? Sakakibara took out his brother's identity and frowned. At any rate, he is here to visit us. Since he is not here to ask for money, then I should also give him some compensation. Right. Brother, you're so angry. Stupid brother. Sakakihara ignored his sister's words and focused his attention on the gray-haired Narita Hiroshi again. Narita Hiro was already rejoicing. Fortunately, he didn't say anything. Just now, this kid deliberately asked himself if he wanted money. It was most likely to test himself. Now, he could already imagine the beautiful days of driving his yacht and basking in the sun on the Pacific Ocean. Raku Sakakibara took the bank card handed over by Nanamai. How many are in there? About 300 million yen. Narita Hiroshi saw the scene in his eyes and was stunned. How much? 300 million. 300 million was taken out so easily. It was Ali who made that little idol pay for it with just one look. The little idols around the sun have so much money, so how much money should he, the young master, have? I can't even imagine it, it's incredible. Sakakihara Suzu was so angry that she almost vomited blood. How could she still give that bastard 300 million? Just when Narita Hiro thought his son was going to hand over this bank card worth 300 million to him, he didn't expect that he would take it in his hand and wave it around. Well, that's too much. Too much. Then, Narita Hiro saw Sakakihara hand the card back to the little idol. His eyes almost popped out of his head. As for Sakakihara Suzu, she almost laughed out loud. It costs 300 million to take a flight and have a meal. Sakakihara Raku wanted to question. Tianhaichi Minjyu glanced at him again and gave him a cold look that said, I'll take care of you tonight. I don't have any change. Lejun, I have it here. How much do you want? Tianhaichi Liulai suddenly spoke. Thank you Liulai, let me calculate it. If the trip from central China to Tokyo is about 20,000. 20,000. Only 20,000. I spent more than 20,000 yuan to buy milk powder for you, right? 20,000, I'll look for it, and I got it. Now it's right. Sakakibara cleared his throat and handed the 20,000 yen bill to Narita Hiroshi very solemnly. The air ticket from Chubu to Tokyo is about 10,000 yen. Including meals and other things, 20,000 yen is definitely enough. Used it? Since you are sure you don't need the money, then consider this as your travel expenses to visit us. Narita Hiro held the 20,000 yuan in his hand, and then saw the little girl holding a card worth 300 million yuan, with a bitter look on her face. Ali. What? If nothing goes wrong, you can always go back. There is no need to see my mother in particular. She will most likely scold you when she sees you, which will save you the trouble of running away to get angry. This bastard boy is deliberately mocking himself. Annoying and hateful. But he had no choice. The boy Ali had the final say in the current situation. Can he fall out with this kid? No, absolutely not. Otherwise, he would have no choice but to shamelessly pester his daughter who hated him so much. Ali, for the sake of the money I spent to help you treat your illness in the past. Sakakihara Raku was lost in thought. Well, this is worth considering. So are you here to ask for money? It's not about money, Ali. It's because Dad can't live anymore. When I came here, I borrowed money from others to buy tickets. So you still buy a plane ticket? Aren't we in a hurry to confirm if it's you? Can you understand my mentality when I see a Lynx commercial on the screen after more than 10 years? This feeling of wanting to meet is beyond words. That's okay. Sakakibara asked Amamai Nanamai to take the bank card over again. Narita Hiro stared at the card blankly. I don't ask you for anything, just pretend you don't exist, okay? Narita Hiroshi nodded to his son, no problem, of course no problem. Sure. Of course. Of course. Take it, the password is on the back of the bank card. There is Mr. Muramatsu's driver outside. You can take his car and tell him where you want to go. Okay, okay, okay. Narita Hiroshi said 3 times in a row, held his bank card, said a few polite words to Raku Sakakibara, and deliberately politely said a few words to Suzu Sakakibara, and rushed out of the hall impatiently. Sakakibara's Suzu was let go by the security guard, and angrily walked up to Sakakibara Raku and hit him on the arm. Brother, are you stupid? Why give him 300 million? Don't worry, Aling, your brother and I are not that stupid. Sakakibara's Suzu raised her face and looked aggrieved. Then you will give him 300 million? He came back from the dead just to ask for money. Sakakibara looked at the middle-aged man outside happily directing the driver to get away from here. Unavoidably, he had some emotional fluctuations in his heart. I just feel a little sad that someone is still alive. After all these years, he still remembers to come back and ask us for something money. But it's better to pay back all the money he gave me in the past, so as to save him from making irresponsible remarks. That's not as much as 300 million. Don't worry, he can't spend that much. What are you up to? Just send him to the police station to sit down. I'll call Uncle Ying later. As for the money he spent to treat my illness, my mother said it was about 700,000. After all, that guy doesn't have much money. Now plus the little money he spent on mom and you, giving him 3 million would be the most benevolent thing. Actually, bro, it'll be fine if you don't give him a penny. Sakakibara shook his head. It's only after the settlement that we can clearly distinguish the relationship, isn't it? About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tou Lan. Chapter 478. Why did that person come back suddenly? This question bothered Suzu Sakakibara all afternoon. In the afternoon, when I was practicing dancing in front of myself in the mirror in the dance studio, Wei, Juhua and several seniors also reminded me a lot. Even though Sakakibara Suzu knew that her brother, Kyo and others were watching her dance, her mind was completely focused on this issue. There was a series of mistakes in one of her moves midway, and Niseken Harumi, who was in charge of the team's lead dance, noticed her state. After the end, she took advantage of the other 3 chatting, sat down next to Sakakibara Suzu, and said to her in a very calm and small voice. The time has been finalized. We will go to the Budokan next week. Is Ling worried about what happened just now? Senior, did you see it? Futoshin Harumi didn't speak, just nodded. Sakakibara Suzu glanced outside the practice room. The place where her brother, Yuki and the others were standing was already empty. The senior's kind and weak voice of inquiry rang in my ears again. What do Ling think now? What do you think? I feel that it's a bit incredible, Harumi-senpai, you don't know, he won the jackpot when I was 5 years old, so he gave up my brother and my mother. After that, our family was completely supported by my mother and my brother. Now, in my mind, this guy has been dead for a long time, but now he has come back again. Hate him. Who would I hate and would like to be abandoned? But now I am very happy that he is gone. I still have my mother and my brother. There are some things I don't like to say to outsiders. It's true. I love my brother very much. He has been supporting me from behind and I have been able to persist until now. When I first started working as a voice actor, it was common for me to be left out and ignored. Sakakihara Suzu's voice became quieter and quieter as she spoke. I just feel that we are all relatives. Why is there such a big gap? My brother has always been thinking about me, but that bastard came back just because he wanted to ask me for money. Futoshin Harumi hugged her legs, rested her head on her knees, and looked sideways at the troubled girl with slightly green hair next to her. So it's the huge gap between Ling's biological father and your brother that makes you feel empty, right? Yes. Yes. When I see that bastard's face, I think of the days when my brother gave me everything, and I feel aggrieved for my brother. If he has a little bit of conscience, my brother and mom won't have such a hard life. Well, Futoshin Harumi thought for a moment, since Suzu always thinks about the past, why not go back tonight and have a good talk with your brother? Speak. What can you say? Let's talk about what happened today and ask him what he thinks. Also, aren't you about to perform on stage? I saw that you didn't resist when your brother came over to watch you practice just now. You were really looking forward to letting him see you standing. Are you performing on stage? Sakakibara Suzu's face suddenly turned red when her thoughts were read. She also hugged her legs together with her hands and buried her cheeks in them. In the past, he said that I was too stupid to dance and so on. I'm sure he still has this idea. But you're embarrassed to tell others. Isn't this natural? We are so old, no one wants to be known by others and still expects to be paid attention to by her brother or something. Sakakihara Suzu's voice became softer and softer until she started to mutter weakly. I think bells like this are cute. Huh? Why do you say that? It's very rare, and there are basically no brothers and sisters who have such a good relationship now. In my memory, brothers and sisters of our age group basically ignore each other. The younger sister locks the door of the room when she comes home, and the older brother basically ignores the younger sister. Ling wants your brother to pay attention to you so much. Doesn't this mean that you are both very important to each other? You should cherish it. Do you cherish it? Sakakihara Suzu buried her head, her temples still a little wet from the dance practice just now. Inexplicably, the image of my brother leaving England forever came to mind. He left. Raise yourself until you can take charge of your own life and then leave. Obviously this didn't happen, but Sakakihara Suzu felt extremely sad when she thought about the possibility that he might really leave not long ago. Don't want him to leave. I also want to eat the super delicious dinner he made. When I wanted to have nothing to do, I would run up behind him, put my arms around his neck, and shout things like, "Brother, I want to go out and play." Compared to some shameless bastard, this bastard is really good. Ni second Harumi saw Sakakihara Suzu suddenly raised her head, looking full of energy. I'll talk to my brother when I get home. Senior, I'm well rested now, let's continue practicing. Asterisk. Dance practice lasted until 6 p.m. At 6:15, when the sun had just set halfway, Sakakihara Suzu waved goodbye to several seniors, Tiano and the others. She hailed a taxi on the side of the road, went to the supermarket to buy a bunch of snacks and drinks, and then went to a nearby izakaya to buy a lot of roasted bird skewers before taking the car back home. It was almost 7 o'clock when I got home. She habitually opened the door with the key and shouted "I'm back" when changing her shoes. Within a moment, her brother's somewhat lazy welcome home came from the living room. Sakakihara Suzu smiled slightly. Welcome home. It is obviously something I hear often, but why does it sound sweet to me now? Sakakihara Suzu came to the living room carrying large and small bags of things. Why did you buy so many things, Suzu? Raku Sakakibara, who was busy with dinner in the kitchen, also saw this little green hair on his sister. Today, she was dressed quite cutely and freshly. Sakakihara Suzu raised the plastic bag to her face and laughed, "Buy it and let's eat it together." When did you become so thoughtful and why did you buy a barbecue? Sakakihara Raku saw her other hand. Sakakihara Suzu also picked it up and shook it. Hey, isn't it great? Everyone is at home today. I just thought we could sit together and have a good meal together. If it were my mother, she would definitely complain now, it's time to have dinner, why are you buying these things? But my brother won't. Sakakibara just glanced at it, and then continued to work on the dishes in his hands. Excuse me for bothering you, let me make an exception today and prepare a few more dishes. It just so happens that the ingredients from before are still sitting there uneaten. Okay. Then I'll put the things away. Well, go ahead, go ahead. Sakakihara Suzu put the snacks and drinks she bought on the side of the coffee table in the living room, only to realize that there was no one in the living room. She went back to the corridor and took a look. Kyo was sitting in her bedroom reading a book. Yuki seemed to be tinkering with her videos, sitting in front of the computer looking quite distressed. Sister Liuli didn't know where she went, but she wasn't at home anyway. The open kitchen and living room are connected together, which means that in such a large area, the old man is the only one now. During the rare alone time, Sakakihara Suzu sneaked up behind Sakakihara Raku and watched him handling a piece of fat and thin pork. The old man is wearing an apron and is very tall. It looks like a handsome man working hard in the kitchen preparing dinner. Sakakihara Suzu liked him very much. She looked at him behind his back for a while with her hands behind her back, seeing how busy he was and how serious he was. This situation didn't end until Raku Sakakihara turned around. He was obviously startled. Ailing, what are you doing standing back there like a ghost? Sakakihara Suzu pouted, you are the ghost. Do you really want your cute little sister to become a ghost? Raku Sakakihara was happy when he heard her tone, and then continued to get things from the cupboard behind him, hiding behind me sneakily, what is it if it's not a ghost? I'm just looking at you. Sakakibara Suzu followed Sakakibara Raku's gaze, by the way, why didn't you see Sister Ruri? Luli went downstairs to buy sugar. We ran out of sugar at home. Yuki really wanted to eat the braised pork I made again. I haven't cooked dinner for everyone seriously for a long time, so my uncle let me go during this period. If it's a holiday, just do it. Braised pork? I want to eat it too. Returning to the chopping board, Sakakibara smiled and said, isn't this what we are doing? If nothing happens, Suzu, go to the living room and watch TV for a while. I watched you dance in the afternoon and felt that you were tired. You have to cooperate and sing again. Dancing again, keeping the pitch and all that, it's hard just thinking about it. Sakakihara Suzu looked at him for a short while, then quietly walked to him with her hands behind her back, looked at the small ingredients he had cut, and then looked at his face again. Brother, you are caring about me. Sakakibara continued to chop vegetables. You don't know how many times you have asked me this in your life. Remember, I am your brother, I don't care about you, who cares about you? If you want to get married in the future, I will still care who is your marriage partner, how is he, and how does he treat you. I'm not getting married, Sakakihara Suzu muttered. She wanted to look at him but didn't dare to look at him when she was next to him. I just, suddenly felt that you are very good, brother. How? Don't talk about that irresponsible bastard. Even as my mother, I feel there is a gap between me and her. There are some things I don't want to say to her. I won't hide in her arms and cry. After all, she is my age. Now, he's not the little kid who cried when he couldn't find his mother. Well, then I thought you were pretty good, brother. If something sad happens to you, if you agree, I can stay in your arms for a while. Sakakihara Suzu was hesitant when she said this, and she was a bit afraid to look at Sakakibara Suzu. As soon as Sakakihara Raku heard her words, he stopped cutting the vegetables and turned back to look at her. He didn't say anything, just looked at her. "What are you doing? Looking at me like that?" Um. Well, what? You took the initiative to say so many things to me, and you still speak so shyly. You are not a ling. Sakakihara Suzu was at a loss for words and her voice became smaller. "Why am I not?" Sakakibara laughed. "Just kidding, I just think it's funny, girls will always have this one day." What? Sakakihara Suzu couldn't understand what he said. Sakakibara did not take the initiative to answer her question, but kept smiling and continued, "Ling, are you trying to act coquettishly?" Be quiet for a moment. No, Sakakihara Suzu replied. Really? Sakakihara brought his face closer. No, Sakakihara Suzu turned her slightly red face aside. Really? Sakakihara deliberately prolonged his voice and leaned closer. No, no, Sakakibara Suzu deliberately raised her voice and emphasized, not shying away from her straight face, even with her eyes closed. Sakakihara didn't reply, just stared at her quietly for a while with a weird smile. Under her brother's gaze, Sakakihara Suzu was instantly discouraged and her shoulders slumped. She blushed and turned away. "Okay. I just thought about that. That's all. If you want a hug from me, just ask. It's not like I won't give you a hug." Why do I want you to hug me? I am already so old, and you want to hug me, wouldn't you feel ashamed? I feel so ashamed. Yes. So ashamed. So, no hug. No hug. Yes. Just no hug. Hearing this, Sakakibara didn't say much. He just put down the kitchen knife in his hand, took off his apron, and then stood quietly in front of her. What now? Sakakihara Suzu opened one of her closed eyes, looked at him sideways, found that he was looking at her, and quickly closed it again. No hug. You really don't want to hug me? No hug. Sakakibara didn't care about his sister's shame and said to her sincerely. Ailing, actually, brother, I like you very much, Ailing. Although she is usually a little naughty and silly, she is really nice and knows how to take the initiative to come to me when I need company. When I was in trouble, she took the initiative to speak for me. Knowing that I might have to leave, she was so sad that she shed tears. She is usually a little arrogant, but this is also the cuteness of her silly. You work even harder at work. When I went to see you practice dancing in the afternoon, I also exchanged some words with your senior captains. They all agreed that you are the most serious person in terms of work attitude. No matter as a voice actor, I am still half an idol. To sum up, my sister is very good, very proud, and very strong. She has her own little temper, and she also knows how to take care of other people under appropriate circumstances. The most important thing is that she has always had a good attitude toward people. He has a sincere heart. He is indeed a person worthy of being cherished. Of course, she is usually sad, if someone hurts her heart, or someone secretly speaks ill of her behind her back. Even though she can bear these emotions in her heart now, she still hopes that there will be someone who can be with her, share this feeling and comfort her. Sakakibara looked at Sakakihara Suzu listening to him carefully and smiled lightly. So, if you want to act coquettishly, why not secretly hug her in a place where no one is around? After saying these words, Sakakibara Suzu was obviously a little dazed. She looked at him, thinking about their identities and the feelings they had grown up with for more than 10 years, and recalled how she was bullied by others in the past, and then hid in her brother's arms and cried at night. I don't know whether it was because I missed him or because he knew what he said. I couldn't help but move towards him little by little, and my hands crossed his waist little by little and hugged him. Her face was pressed against her chest, and her body was leaning on his arms. There was nothing sad, but I felt extremely at ease because of this warmth. Sakakihara Raku also touched Sakakihara Suzu's head. This made her even more shy. Why do I feel like you are treating me like a child? Do you still want to put me to sleep? It's not impossible. Sakakihara looked at the sister holding him in front of him. Didn't you need me to coax you, tell you stories, and make you sleep every day? I'm grown up now. When you grow up, you are still a little kid in my eyes. Occasionally, you like to act coquettishly and ask me to accompany you for a while. Basically every summer vacation, you want me to take you to play in the countryside, pick wild fruits, and build a bonfire. Grill the fish you caught and eat something like that. After all, I don't have many friends, so I have to rely on you. It just so happens that I don't have many friends to play with during the summer vacation. Sakakibara looked at the little head leaning against his chest. Did someone suddenly appear today, Suzu? So her mood fluctuated a little. Well, Suzu Sakakihara closed her eyes, her emotions fluctuating a little. I don't know why he came back. After he came back, he only came to me because of money. I used to often think about the fact that my father didn't want us anymore. When I saw the old man mom is so tired, and when I see you working so hard to make me happy, I wonder why he doesn't want us anymore. What now? I definitely won't think so now. If he wants to leave, he can leave. Anyway, I still have my mother, and anyway, I still have my brother who is willing to take care of me. Then why do you still feel like this now? It's just Sakakihara Suzu buried her face deeper in his arms, and her voice became weaker. It's just that the way he came back suddenly and spoke to me made me know that you are the only one who loves me the most, brother, not only for me. So good, it was the first time I made so much money, and I gave it all to me without saying a word. Then I thought about how you wanted to leave without saying goodbye a while ago. I just said, afraid I'll abandon you too. Yes, Sakakihara Suzu nodded in his arms. Don't leave me, okay? The only thing I care about most in my life is you. These words are really heavy. A person with a personality like Aling, who is very optimistic every day, will basically not express such inner thoughts. Even if there are, most of them will pretend on the surface and laugh it off. The only thing I care about most in my life is you. This sentence sounds really touching and emotional. Then if I leave alone and leave you alone, and you can't find me at all, what will you do? Suicide. Sakakihara laughed. Is it that serious? It's that serious. I'm afraid of being alone. Aling, no one is indispensable with anyone in this world. Getting used to loneliness is the norm. I don't care, I only care about you. Sakakibara was a little bit dumbfounded. Well, in order to prevent your lovely sister Suzu from committing suicide, I promise that I will never have the idea of leaving without saying goodbye in the future. If I have any, I will tell you, Suzu. You are not allowed to have it. I'm not allowed to have any ideas. Just not allowed. Okay, if you don't allow me to have it, then I won't have it. I listen to you. Are you happy like this? Your eyes are still red. Do you want me to wipe them with a tissue? I expected you to hold me and act coquettishly. That's fine, why are you still crying? After comforting Aling for a while, her mood finally improved. Have you had enough of coquettishness? No, just hold me for a while. Who told you to be so strong? It's quite comfortable to hold you, Sakakihara Suzu muttered like a child, and hugged her tighter. That's okay. I also said I would get the vegetables early. During this period, Juliuli went home after buying sugar and saw Sakakihara Suzu holding her brother and acting coquettishly in the kitchen. Sakakihara Raku was quite embarrassed, but Amamikururi smiled and said, the relationship is so good with her lips, put the sugar down, and she sneaked back to her bedroom. How about, Aling, you let me cook? No, I want my brother to hug me. Sakeki Hararaku. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tou Lan. Chapter 480. Chapter 473 Idol Girl Aling. Announcement of comic exhibition work, 1. Ever since I last visited the place where Aling practiced dancing, her career seemed to be in acceleration mode. Not only the streets and alleys, but the famous places in Tokyo. Akihabara, Shibuya, Odaiba, Sensoji Temple, etc. You can all see the advertising pictures for the July drama Celestial. In the promotion, the heroine Arya, the girl named the heir to Star Armor Sun Knight, is in the center of the promotion picture. She held a sharp blade, closed her eyes tightly, with her back against the Milky Way, surrounded by 4 other girls with different expressions. Behind these people, there are several large mechas with different colors and postures: Star, Harmony, Aurora, and Glow. There is no doubt that the bright red mecha Star Armor Sun Knight behind the heroine is the most eye-catching. The mecha has strong lines, the body is decorated with gold and orange, and the armor surface is engraved with sun patterns and interstellar patterns. These details make the mecha look particularly gorgeous. The shoulder-shaped armor components unfold when flying, facing away from the bright sun, and the dazzling light makes them look like angel wings. At the same time, it holds the legendary sword, Radiant Blade. The chest is equipped with the most advanced weapon of the Earth Federation, a high-intensity weapon called the Solar Beam Cannon made using nuclear fusion technology. This beam not only has huge power, but also has the effect of burning and energy splashing. The missile effect can quickly destroy targets or cause widespread damage on a vast battlefield. This is the introduction. He is also quite handsome. This mecha is designed not only for anime mecha enthusiasts, but also for Raku Sakakibara, a person who doesn't usually like mechas. It looks pretty cool. Because this mecha is designed to have a real mechanical feel, rather than simply being more handsome in appearance. I heard that the animation company that produced the series also hired Yuta Takahashi, a well-known veteran who graduated from Tokyo University of the Arts and whose family also owns a car factory, to be the mechanical director. With the support of the older generation, the design of this mecha is naturally self-evident. Moreover, the mechas are designed like this. If the animation does not collapse, the production cost will be more than 3 to 4 times higher than ordinary animation, right? Well, no wonder this new series is so popular. It seems that the whole Tokyo is promoting it, and because the protagonist in it is so popular, the official directly contacted the voice actors of the characters to form an idol group to bring the animation group Stellar Voix to reality. That is the team that Aling has been training with. Humph, bro, do you know how powerful I am? Of course, because of the explosion of animation, a girl with small breasts whose popularity has been rising has become extremely stinky. Sakeki Hara sat quietly in the employee lounge, looking around at the promotional poster that Suzu handed to her. This mecha and the brave and steady heroine Arya, who holds a sharp blade inside, are good looking, but Raku Sakeki Hara always feels that something is wrong. Sakakibara kept comparing the red-haired Arya in the promotional poster with the sister in front of her who was lying on the sofa scrolling through her mobile phone, swinging her legs up and down, humming a tune, and wearing a beret. She felt that they didn't match at all. Ah! Shouldn't the protagonist be the captain? Logically speaking, Miss Jinggong shouldn't be the one to take the role. Why did it fall on you, Aling? Brother, what are you talking about? Sakeki Hara Suzu shook her thin legs wearing black loafers and white socks up and down, and she reached for a grape placed on the stool. I am a sunny, cheerful, and progressive person. I am also full of courage and perseverance. My image completely matches Aaliyah. At the same time, She was still scrolling through her phone with her other hand, staring intently with her purple eyes. Sakaki Haro looked at her lazy slug on the sofa and didn't believe it at all. I should say, it's all farts. Sakakibara Suzu glanced at her brother while scrolling through her phone, and found that he had such a disgusted expression. She immediately swallowed the grapes in her mouth, put down her phone, and sat up with her legs crossed. Ahem. She first hugged her knees with both hands, then made a fist with her right hand and coughed twice deliberately. Her expression suddenly changed, and her originally lazy, casual, and playful voice completely disappeared. She frowned, and what followed was the resolute, courageous, weather-beaten, and extremely inspiring image of hope from the sun girl Arya. Gentlemen, please remember. Our unity will be our most indestructible weapon in this war. Our trust is our all-powerful blade. Let us bear the weight of history and stand on the front line of the battle, for our home. For our future freedom. Move forward without hesitation. I have to say, Alia's voice sounds really comfortable. It doesn't sound like a Ling at all, but a big sister who has gone through quite a painful experience. This declaration would be particularly atmospheric if it had the background of an anime scene before a battle. It was Raku Sakakihara who was immersed in the role-playing of Alia Izuzu 1 second ago. Unexpectedly, she raised her right arm high in the next second, closed her eyes tightly, and put on a pair of clothes that can only be seen in useless cute dramas. Cute voice. Give me, attack. Then she lay down again and returned to the position where she was browsing her phone. Sakakihara Raku, What on earth is this guy doing? She's so cute. Suzu Sakakibara, who was wearing a beret, continued to shake her legs, then reached out and pinched a grape and popped it into her mouth. Have you never seen a beautiful girl act so cute? I have never seen such a stinky beautiful girl like you. Sakakibara didn't know what to say, so he coughed twice to ease the inexplicable atmosphere. Then he said to the younger sister in front of him, Alia is a good match. Is this what you are saying? Do you like girls who are tough and courageous? Sakakihara Suzu's eyes were half closed, and her expression immediately became subtle. Yes, I quite like it, Sakakihara admitted boldly. Then how about if I talk to you in this voice every day? I need to. Let me tell you first, don't underestimate this. I don't know how many people on the internet like the character of Arya. They leave messages like Alia's wife, and Alia's wife, on my Twitter every day. You want me to use that tone again to dub my speech when I was worried about the war? This is a perk that cannot be bought for money. I will only let the person I love the most in my life listen to alone. As Suzu Sakakibara spoke, she winked and made a scissor hand on the side of her face, making a cute wink gesture. The girl herself is very cute. Plus, her beret covers her short shoulder-length hair with a green tip, which makes her even more adorable. Even Sakakihara Raku couldn't stand it after seeing it too much. This guy. I don't know if I have been an idol for a few days and learned some cute skills, so I can capture the hearts of men. Naturally, as her elder brother, Sakakihara Raku would never be embarrassed in front of her. He coughed twice and assumed his identity as an elder. No need. Also, Aling, you have to remember that you are at work. You are lying on the sofa eating without saying anything, and your legs are still dangling. You have to remember that you are wearing a skirt. You have to remember that you are an idol now, a star. Now. What if someone pushes the door open and you are gone? Here we go again. Suzu Sakakihara didn't listen to a word, she continued to browse her phone, and just waved her hand towards him. Okay anyway, you are the only one here now, brother, so you can leave as soon as you go. Anyway, you gave me a bath when I was a kid. I'll see them all soon. Can this be the same? Boom boom. Knocking. The person who opened the door next was Chingongyui, the senior captain of the Aling Idol group. Suzuki-chan. Ah, Sakakibara-kun is here too. Hello. Hello. Sakakibara nodded. As soon as he saw this person coming in, he knew that Aling's image of a good girl outside was no longer safe. In addition to her potential deliciousness discovered by fans, her external image has always been that of a quiet and knowledgeable angel girl. Especially among colleagues, she is well behaved and polite. If someone discovers that her so-called angel girl appearance is actually a lazy and stupid loser girl, then how can she survive in front of her colleagues? After all, voice actors, idols, etc. are all in the workplace, and everyone is glamorous and has a good personality. As soon as he finished replying to Kiyomiya, Sakakibara took a sneak peek at the position where Sakakihara Suzu had just been lying on her stomach. It's okay if you don't look at it, but look at it. What is that glowing on her head? Sakakihara Raku suspected that he was dazzled because the loser slug disappeared and was replaced by a beautiful girl who was sitting upright on the sofa with neat sleeves and a smooth demeanor like a saint. The girl smiled brightly and asked, "Senior Wei, is there something wrong?" Qing Gongwei didn't notice anything at all, just looked at her and replied with a smile. "Just a reminder, Suzu-chan, we will start working in half an hour. There are quite a lot of people here today, so we will probably be busy until after lunch." Okay, Sakakihara Suzu smiled and nodded obediently. "You don't have any additional questions, Suzu-chan? If you have any questions, I can talk to Tanaka-san, manager, directly." "No way, it's an honor for me to go to work. I should be happy to be able to communicate with so many fans who like me." Qing Miyui blinked. "I didn't expect Suzu-chan to think so. No wonder your fans like you so much. I saw them outside holding your sign and Alia's sign before the venue opened. Well, I should learn from Suzu-chan on this point. Other than that, it's okay." Okay, Sakakihara Suzu continued to smile and nodded obediently. "Ah, by the way, just call me Yui. There's no need to call me senpai." "Okay, Senior." Sakakihara Suzu nodded obediently, still smiling. After Qing Gongwei conveyed these words, he closed the door and left. Sakakibara was still thinking about the time for Suzu to go to work, but she didn't expect that it would be an hour earlier. She felt tired for her. When she turned around, she saw that the saint was gone, and the useless slug was lying on the sofa, sighing. Her chin was placed directly on the round armrest of the sofa, and her face was rounded. "Oh, why do you have to go to work early again?" Sakakibara was peeling an apple and looking sideways. "Didn't you just act like going to work was your responsibility?" "Come on." Sakakibara Suzu waved her hands, rolled her eyes out, and looked at the ceiling. "I always go to work early and don't get extra wages. What a bullshit honor. This is called squeezing my labor force." Ms. Sakakibara. After a brief knock on the door, the idol group's manager, Tanaka Kazuzu, opened the door again and entered. "I'm going to the exhibition in an hour. I'm sorry, the number of people coming this time is beyond expectation, so I have to go in advance." Sakakibara thought that Suzu's secret would be revealed this time, so he looked back. Looking at it, I found that the angel girl was sitting on the sofa again. Still that radiant smile. Sakakihara Raku's mouth twitched. "This guy. It's really fast enough. Senior Wei told me just now." The girl's voice was calm and gentle. "Have you told me?" "Yes. The Qing Palace is really efficient. Originally, I just asked her to inform Sakaichi and Maruyama." There was a click. After Tianzong he left, the door closed again. As Sakakihara expected, after just a few seconds, the light above her sister disappeared immediately, deflating on the sofa again like a deflated balloon. Her face was ashen and lifeless, and she opened her mouth to exhale hot air. I don't want to go to work." Sakakibara handed her the peeled apple. "I know you didn't sleep well at night. If you want me to come with you, why don't I just accompany you to work? Eat the apple. Sakakibara Suzu rolled her eyes lazily, took the apple in her brother's hand tremblingly, put it to her mouth and took a bite. Does it taste okay? Seeing her so tired, Sakakibara felt a little distressed. These days, he has been paying attention to Aling's dance practice. It's true that the further they get to the back, the more intense their dance practice becomes. It seems that the concert will last for nearly 2 hours, including but not limited to the animations op, ed, interludes, character songs, etc. The animation has 36 episodes, and the songs in it require the 5 of them to be on it the whole time. One can imagine the level of training required to sing and dance. Would you like some ice water or cold Coke? I saw a vending machine outside. I'll buy it for you. Hearing Sakakibara Raku speak, Sakakibara Suzu turned her face, stared at him, and pouted. Sakakibara Raku, why, aren't you happy to buy you water? Brother, do you only care about me so much when everyone is gone? How could that happen? Sakakihara replied. There is. Sakakihara Suzu took a bite of the peeled apple and muttered, Sister Kiyo didn't want to come out at home, and Sister Liulai and Yuki went to Akihabara to buy game cartridges. It must be you only care about me because they are not with you. Sakakibara Leto glanced at her and raised his eyebrows. Suzu, you're still jealous now? Absolutely, the girl was dissatisfied with his words and made a face. You're the only one who's jealous. That's jealousy. Raku Sakakihara likes her tsundere now, because he can laugh at her casually. It's not honest, isn't it? I don't know who hugged me a few days ago and shouted, no, 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 I want my brother to hold me, I want my brother to hold me. Thinking of this scene, Sakakibara Suzu's face turned red with anger. She was pink and tender. She picked up the apple core and pointed it at Sakakibara Raku, who was grabbing his throat and imitating her own voice. Don't say it. Sakakibara glanced at her. Keep choking. I want my brother to hug me, I want my brother to hug me. Ah. Sakakihara Suzu became so angry that she couldn't bear it any longer. She walked off the sofa and tried to gag her brother. You're not allowed to say that. Sakakibara stretched out his hand to stop her, looking at his sister's red and moist face, which was very close at hand. Why, you called this yourself, Suzu? I shouted, so you are not allowed to shout anymore. I want my brother to hug me, I want my brother to hug me. Humph. I'll beat you to death. Sakakibara Suzu tried her best but couldn't stop her brother's mouth. She blushed and snorted softly. She didn't feel shameless and just stretched out her arms to hug him. Hey, Aling, what are you doing? Sakakibara Suzu raised her head in front of him, her face as red as a cold, and she looked a little unconvinced. Humph, you said it, if you want my brother to hug me, then I will hug you. This. It doesn't matter at home, but it's still a bit embarrassing outside. It doesn't matter if she hugs her, she's just afraid of being seen by outsiders. If she hugs a man, does that mean she should still be considered an idol? Sakakibara put on a serious face and tried to push her away with serious words. Suzu, no matter how good the relationship between brother and sister is, they can't hold each other like this in the workplace, right? Sakakihara Suzu didn't care. She hugged him from the front, locked him tightly, pouted and shook her head. Humph, I don't care, I want to hug my brother. As soon as Sakakihara Suzu saw that he had stopped talking, she had succeeded, and her scornful personality emerged. She is no longer shy and is smiling. Actually, I know. Brother, you just like me being coquettish to you like this. You really want to hear what I called you that day again, right? Nonsense, I'm just trying to comfort you a little. Now, go, let go. No. Don't let me go. Sakakihara Suzu hugged her tightly and leaned her head on her. I want my brother to hold me. Let go. No, 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 I want my brother to hug me. Open. Brother, no, I want my brother to hug me. It's better to let go. No, no, brother is the best. You can peel an apple for me to eat? I want my brother to hug you. Raku Sakakihara looked helplessly at Sakai Chiteno, who was petrified at the door of the lounge, and sighed again to Suzu, who was still acting coquettishly in her arms. To be honest, Suzu, it's better to let go. Unexpectedly, Sakakihara Suzu became more serious. If you want a hug, please give me a hug. My brother is the best to me, and I also like to act coquettishly in his arms. Sakakihara's expression was subtle and he pointed at the door. I know, brother wants to lie to me. No, I want brother to hug me. Brother, wait, Tien Nai. Ah, ha ha ha, why are you here? Let's talk about how rich the changes in a Ling's expressions and movements are. Just look at Sakai Chitano, who lives in Shiwa, at the door. Feeling uneasy, winking, dancing. All in all, it's outrageous. Sakai Chitano could no longer hear her friend's explanation clearly. The picture in her mind kept repeating the picture of someone wanting to be hugged by her brother. The girl's voice was hesitant and soft, and she looked inside with a hint of apology. Am I disturbing you? No, no, Suzu Sakakihara immediately replied, her eyes wandering. I was just teasing with my brother. Just teasing. The apology on Sakai Chitano's expression became more and more intense. She was still holding her hand on the door handle, looking like she was about to cry, as if she had seen something she shouldn't have seen. I'm sorry, Suzu-chan. I was the one who disturbed you. After saying this, she closed the door and left. Tien Nai. Oh. Tien Nai. Don't leave, listen to my explanation. Sakakibara Suzu looked again and saw that there were no good friends in the room, only Sakakibara Raku was snickering. I want my brother to hold me, I want my brother to hold me, right? You. Suzu Sakakihara's face immediately turned red as if she was steaming. She no longer had the shame to joke around, so she shamelessly shouted, I'm going to work, and ran away. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tou Lan. Chapter 481. Comic Market. The literal translation means comics market. But in Tokyo, this is one of the largest binary fan exhibitions in Japan. In August, the traffic reached 500,000 people in 3 days. It also has a common name, C exhibition, both at home and abroad. The reason why it is famous is that in addition to being an important gathering place for a large number of comic fans, animation fans, game fans, and fan creators, the exhibition can also sell comics drawn by oneself or private goods that have been collected for many years. This is why Exhibition C is commonly called the book exhibition. As for why Ling's workplace is in this place, their stellar Vwike idol group needs an event to promote it. This time period happened to coincide with the C exhibition. After discussion, the senior management of the animation company unanimously decided to book a booth at the C exhibition for official concert promotion activities. By the way, there are some free booths for the authors selling fan works of the July drama Celestial. Yes, the animation company officially provides free sales booths to fan authors. And it is also the West Hall as a corporate venue. This is very incredible. Due to the popularity of C exhibition every year, there are almost 35,000 booths every year. Even if you spend 10,000 yen to register on the CM official website, you will most likely be screened out. It's not that the officials are deliberately restricting anything, but there are too many people signing up and there is really not enough space. As soon as the animation company came on stage, they gave fans free booths, which naturally won them a lot of applause. After Suzu ran out, Sakakibara Raku had nothing to do in the restroom, so he left the rest area and walked 5 minutes to the west building of the Tokyo International Exhibition Center. At that time, the sky was cloudless and blue. Of course, it was also the end of the dog days and the sun was extremely hot. As soon as Raku Sakakihara came out of the lounge, a wave of heat hit his face, and he had to reach out to block the dazzling sunlight. He stood on the rooftop and looked up at the entrance to the east building. It was no longer a matter of how many people there were, it was a dark place and the crowds were overwhelming. There were people wearing hats, scarves on their heads, and people holding open umbrellas to protect themselves from the sun. The entrance to the venue was already big enough, but it still couldn't resist the enthusiasm of otakus from all over the world. Raku Sakakibara also saw several people in the crowd holding up the character Arya he saw on the promotional poster just now, the heroine voiced by Suzu. He couldn't believe the enthusiasm of these fans. By the way, these people are all waiting in line to enter, right? How did they stay in this place that was hotter than a sauna? Raku Sakakibara stood on the rooftop and watched for a while. Just now, he was thinking about asking Kyo to come here to play and visit the comic exhibition. There are so many people now, so there is a high probability that there is no hope. When we came to the west building, it was not much better than the east building. It was still crowded. However, the booth is much better than the individual booth in the east building. There is a table and a stall, and my colleagues are next door. The corporate exhibitions here are quite well organized. Not only are animation companies here to promote their new shows to be released in October, but there are also gal game companies here to sell their new works. Occasionally, you can see mobile game manufacturers from China. What Sakakibara finds interesting is that when you come here to buy things, you can directly meet the authors and producers and listen to their evaluation of the items they sell and their thoughts on the production. When I think about it, I can ignore the distributors and publishers and buy the works directly from the authors. It seems to be a bit interesting. After squeezing in the museum for 10 minutes, Raku Sakakibara arrived at ALU's booth. By the way, what they did was not a sales meeting at all, right? 5 voice actors stood behind 5 small tables, receiving 5 rows of fans. This is totally a fan meeting and handshake event. Raku Sakakihara stood to the side, watching Suzu and the members of her idol group with smiles on their faces, shaking hands and talking to the fans who came up in line. The 5 of them are also wearing clothes of different colors. For example, Suzu is red, Tiano is white, and Kiyomiya is green. Thinking of the poster of the drama, Sakakibara thought that this should be the 5 of them corresponding to the drama. The color of the mecha is changed. Because I was originally here to accompany a Ling today. Nothing happened, so Sakakibara went directly to their company's booth and sat waiting for Suzu. This wait is 6 hours. It started at 8 a.m. and lasted until 2 p.m. Fans stopped queuing because several voice actors needed a break. When Raku Sakakibara came to the lounge carrying the lunch box handed out by Tanaka-san, Suzu was completely exhausted. Elder brother. Talking is like an angry balloon. His head was like a rusty clockwork, and it took a lot of effort to turn it around. Sakakibara put the lunch box on the table in front of her. I know you are tired, why don't I bring you the lunch box? Well, I am still kind to me. Fortunately, I asked you to come and accompany me. Stop feeling emotional, get up and eat quickly. As he was talking, another person came in through the door of the lounge. Sakakibara glanced in the direction and found out that it was the girl with blonde hair in the 5-member idol group, Suzu. She was holding a white lunchbox and looked a little dazed when she saw the people inside. Sakakibara Raku remembered that this child seemed to be named Maruyama Kuka, 17 years old, older than Suzu. His family was quite rich, he was of mixed race, and he had been a model in a fashion magazine. Looks very iconic. Out of politeness, Sakakibara smiled and said hello. This is the first time we meet. I am Raku Sakakibara, the elder brother of Suzu Sakakibara. Handsome. Handsome guy. Sakakihara Raku. Or Suzu's brother. Since when did Ling have such a handsome brother? Kuka Maruyama tried hard to recall what she knew about Sakakihara Suzu. By the way, when Ling joined a certain band before, it seemed like he was in it. Hello, this is the first time we meet. My name is Maruyama Kuka. Kuka Maruyama picked up her skirt, lowered her head slightly and crouched down, giving a rather un-Japanese greeting. Sakakihara thought this girl was quite cute and smiled slightly. Hello. I won't disturb you if I stay here, right? Not at all, Kuka Maruyama smiled naturally. Is Sakakibara-kun here to accompany Suzu to attend a comic exhibition today? That's not true. Raku Sakakihara glanced at her younger sister who was on the sofa with some inexplicable malice. It's just that Suzu said she was very busy at work today, and we had nothing to do during our summer vacation, so she asked me to come over and accompany her to work. So that's it. Maruyama Kuka sat down next to Sakakibara Raku, and put down the lunchbox by the way. She looked at Sakakibara Raku for a while, and then laughed again. I didn't see Sakakibara-kun that morning. Maybe it's because I've been staying in the lounge. Miss Maruyama hasn't been here in the morning. Ah, it turns out that Sakakibara-kun looks so mature. Did he study in university in Tokyo? No, I'm only 2 years older than Ling. The two chatted sentence by sentence. Sakakihara Suzu was stuffing food from the lunchbox into her mouth while staring hard at her brother. These two people have been chatting from the moment they met. Let's talk now. Brother, is this guy a girl's friend? Every time, he was liked by others, and the devil girl Juhwa-senpai turned into a good girl in front of him. Sakakihara Suzu was listening nearby, listening to what the two were talking about. It was okay at first, they just got to know each other and started chatting about life. But later, for some reason, the two of them suddenly started talking about cooking. The two of them chatted very fluently. Senior Juhwa heard his brother say several times, some of the novel uses made me so happy that I almost took off. Hey. I only have a few hobbies, Juhwa, why do you like cooking? I wonder if Sakakibara-kun could leave your contact information. I would like to ask for more information. As far as the food is concerned, of course it's no problem. Hey. Senior Juhwa, you are an idol after all. How can any idol take the initiative to ask for another man's contact information? Sakakibara Suzu became angrier and angrier as she watched. She felt a little full before even taking 2 bites of the meal. She really wanted to stop someone from picking up girls on behalf of Sister Kyo and Sister Liulai, but she couldn't find a good excuse, so she could only work on the sidelines. Halfway through, Sakakibara wanted to use the restroom and walked out of the lounge first. Seeing him leaving, Maruyama Kuka immediately sat down next to Sakakibara Suzu with her cell phone in hand. Xiaoling. Although she really wanted to make a bad face for this little senior, she couldn't lose her external image, so she could only face Maruyama Kuka with a very holy smile. Senior Juhwa, what's the matter? Senior? You don't need to call me senior, I'm only a few months older than you. I just want to ask, is that person really your brother just now? Sakakihara Suzu smiled, of course. That's good. I like your brother. Can you tell me what his hobbies are? Puff. Xiaoling. Sakakihara Suzu almost squirted out. If it weren't for the halo of Angel Girl, she would have almost lost her face. This guy. Is this guy so outrageous? It hasn't been half an hour since you met, so how dare you say that you like him? This is intolerable, totally intolerable. Xiaoling, you look uncomfortable. Sakakihara Suzu tried her best to maintain a holy smile on her face. Ah. No, not at all. I'm just a little curious. Kuka-senpai, you've only known my brother for a little while, right? Well, it's true that we have only known each other for a short time. Maruyama Kuka nodded sensibly. Also, Xiaoling, don't call me senior, you can call me sister. Then why, Senior Juhua? It's very simple. Very simple. It was love at first sight. Dot. Xiaoling, your brother is so handsome, isn't it normal to fall in love at first sight? Although that guy is a bit handsome, he's not that outrageous. Or maybe it's because Juhua Senpai is half French that he believes in love at first sight. Maruyama Kuka put her hands on the edge of her skirt. After noticing Sakakibara Suzu's somewhat subtle and confused expression, she raised her head and looked at the ceiling. Suzu, you stay with Sakakibara-kun every day. Of course you won't feel this way if you get used to it. If I want to rate a handsome man, according to my standards, that Kimura Takia only gets 10 points. Where's my brother? 15 marks. Dot. So Xiaoling, please tell me about your brother's hobbies. I think he has a good body shape. He must be exercising, right? This is true. I like the kind of boys who are well planned and can sweat best. They come back handsome after practicing every day. Don't you think so, Xiaoling? That crystal feeling of sweat flowing through the muscle lines. Senior. You talk like a slut. Sakakihara Suzu was screaming in her heart, but Maruyama Kuka always said it directly to herself in a normal tone. Generous and beautiful, just like when she told herself that she liked my brother just now, she said it directly without any shyness. Yes, Sakakibara Suzu paused. I can understand what Kuka-senpai means. But my brother actually has a girlfriend. Have a girlfriend? Who is she? Is she as beautiful as me? Not good to rate. In terms of looks, unless they are really ugly, they can only be evaluated based on personal preference and cannot be compared at all. I have to say that Senior Juhua is not good looking. Sakakihara Suzu really couldn't say anything. As Yui-senpai said before, Kuka-senpai is a beautiful girl model in the voice acting world. The family is very rich and can afford a housekeeper. Senior Juhua, in my brother's heart, his girlfriend is definitely more beautiful. That's not necessarily the case. Kuka Maruyama closed her eyes and reached out to lick her beautiful blonde hair. Maybe I'm so beautiful that I can make the other person feel ashamed and leave Sakakibara-kun directly. Sakakihara Suzu. Maruyama Kuka smiled politely at Sakakibara Suzu. I wonder if Suzu can convey my meaning to me. Originally, I wanted to tell him directly, but after living here for so many years, I seem to understand what's going on here. People don't like to be so direct, so be more tactful. Senior. You still call this euphemism. And I won't convey it to you. Maruyama Kuka suddenly heard the movement approaching outside the door, lowered her voice and whispered in Sakakibara Suzu's ear, Xiao Suzu, it's settled. Tell me first. Sakakihara Suzu. A second later, Sakakihara opened the door to the lounge and suddenly found the two girls in the room staring at him. What's going on? Maruyama Kuka smiled and patted the seat next to her. It's nothing. Sakakibara-kun, please come down and sit down. Suzu and I won't be able to rest for long. We have to work outside later. You guys are really busy. After all, the concert is about to start, so gathering more fans to support us is what we should do now. Now, why don't Sakakibara-kun tell me about the dish just now? There may be errors in the actual operation, but I still want to hear it. Sakakibara-kun's opinion. No problem. Sakakihara Suzu sat aside and listened. The more she listened to the appointment, the more she felt something was wrong. This guy's food was indeed delicious, but where did he get so much theoretical knowledge? From what Senior Juhua said, my theoretical experience is already much better than that of the chef from the Michelin restaurant that our family specially hired. This is comparable to international chefs. And why is Senior Juhwa so good at chatting? My brother got caught in it accidentally. Master, Senior must be a master. Just when Sakakihara Suzu wanted to continue listening to the exchange between the two, Captain Yui Kiyomiya came over and called them to go to work. Maru Yamajuka had no choice but to end the conversation with Sakakibara Raku. I didn't expect to have such a happy chat. Will Sakakibara-kun come over tomorrow? This exhibition will be open for 2 more days, and Suzu and I will continue to work for a while. It depends on what Suzu wants. Does she need me to accompany her? Sakakibara looked at Suzu. Sakakihara Suzu was furious. She originally didn't want to call her brother over to chat with someone, but an idea came to her mind. She suddenly found it extremely interesting and immediately changed her mind. She simply smiled and nodded. Of course brother will come over tomorrow. Maru Yamakuka was very happy inside, and immediately nodded politely to Sakakibara, then let's continue chatting in person tomorrow. No problem. Sakakibara didn't think it was anything. Having someone who knew how to cook would help him cook more special dishes for everyone. Afterwards, Sakakibara followed the two of them out of the lounge. The girl Isuzu suddenly pulled Sakakibara back in a sneaky way, stood on tiptoes and whispered in her brother's ear. Brother, please call Sister Liuli, Sister Kyo, and Yuki together tomorrow. Sakakibara had a weird face. Didn't you say that if they were here, I wouldn't care enough about you? Oh, 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 Suzu Sakakihara waved her hands with an indifferent expression. The situation is different now, brother, remember, you must call Sister Kyo out. Even if she is resting, she still needs to come out to bask in the sun occasionally. Solar. What's the difference? It's just different. I don't understand. Also, why do you have to call Chi-Chi out? Brother, just listen to my sister. My sister will not harm you. You were the one who cheated me the most before. That is the most sincere love your lovely sister has for you. Online dating is the most sincere love when you lie to me, right? Oh, don't keep talking about this. And bro, don't you want to see Sister Kyo, Sister Liuli, and Yuki wearing cosplay costumes together? This comic exhibition is full of cosplays of various characters. Brother, whatever you like, let them cosplay. Rem, Emilia, Mizuhara Chizuru, etc., as long as you think about it, bro, it's all possible. That's kind of interesting. Right. But I want to see you cosplay, Aling. Me? Hee, brother, your taste is okay. Well, it's not impossible, but brother, please call the 3 of them over tomorrow to talk about it. I don't understand, Aling, why are you so insistent on calling them over? Oh, stop asking. Let's go and watch me go to work. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 482. Really going to Comic-Con? The next morning, Amamai Kuruuri heard about this incident from Sakakihara Raku. Because Exhibition C was full of people, Aling was called by their team leader Ching Gongyui at 6 o'clock to rush to the exhibition early. 6 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. For Aling, this was a disaster of epic proportions. Amamai Kuruuri poked at the plum porridge made by Sakakibara Raku in front of her with her chopsticks. No wonder I haven't seen Suzu in the past 2 days, it turned out to be so busy. Sister Chan is on the rise in her career, so it's normal to be exposed more often. Tian Haikimingyu sat upright and put the porridge into his mouth with a spoon. Sakakibara looked over and said, what does July mean at Comic-Con? Not going. The rejection was pretty neat. There was no chance to ask again. Raku Sakakihara was silent for a while, then went to see Amamai Yuki, who was having breakfast quietly. Will Yuki go? There is no need to accompany Sister Liuli to buy game cartridges today. I will go wherever the music goes. Clever. Yuki's sight and voice are so cute. Simply an angel. Tian Haikaimingu withdrew her gaze from someone's face, immediately put down the spoon, and immediately explained. The number of visitors to Comic Market in the morning alone is no less than 100,000, and the exhibition area is only 80,000 square meters. Even if one person is allocated 1 square meter, it is completely insufficient. That place is no different from a steamer in the morning. It's not that I don't want to go. Tian Haijuli Yulai thought about it carefully, but Aling is in the West Pavilion. The corporate exhibition area should not be as crowded as the personal exhibition area. Besides, if there is an exhibition, there will be air conditioning. Sister. What's wrong? Does sister know what Comic Market is a place to sell? Isn't it just some anime works or something? A place where you can wear the same clothes as the anime characters. It seems that my sister is still too pure. Comic Market is famous because it sells. What to sell? Sister, put your ear closer. Tian Haijuli Yulai raised his ear to the sister on the side with a curious look on his face. Hearing this, his face immediately turned red. Sister, now I understand why my brother had to drag us along. Really, would anyone sell those things in a public area? Of course. And sister, you have to know that with so many people there, it means there is no air conditioning. Duo. Sakaki Hara knocked on the table with a straight face, coughed twice, and said righteously. Hey. Don't talk nonsense. I won't take you to that place to play. R18 has a separate area. You can't enter it at your age. Prudery, Tian Haikaimingu opened one eye to look at him with a playful look. I don't know who took me and my sister to the hotel last time. Sakaki Bararaku had something to say and raised his hands. Let me make it clear first. Ruri asked me for the fireworks festival, and I didn't have much intention on that day. Tian Haikaimingu didn't listen at all. Based on my analysis of someone's behavior in recent days, his favorite thing is to find ways to make girls shy, and then use nice words to make girls look shy and weak. In order to achieve his goal of controlling women's emotions, he can flirt with him as a brother. Sakaki Bararaku, As for why he had to drag us to exhibition C, it must be someone who wanted my sister to be shy in front of him. Then he could sneak out those unclean things and let her look at them curiously and shyly. The next step is to let the sister gradually accept the content, and finally return home at night. Someone then asks the sister to use the set of gameplay, and finally the purpose of training is achieved. Teach me, Amamai Kuriyuri, who was sitting upright, looked at Sakaki Bararaku with some worry. Tian Haikaimingu nodded to herself. Yes, sister, don't underestimate men's filthy hearts. After all, someone has been holding it in for a while. Sakaki Bara fell silent. What nonsense are you talking about in July? He had never thought of this at all. But Amamai Kuriyuri was a little doubtful, and said euphemistically to Sakaki Bararaku, actually, it's not that I can't understand Raku-kun's weird thoughts. But compared to these, I still hope to maintain a normal relationship with Raku-kun. Kiss and hug him. Of course you can hug me or something. Li Yulai is absolutely a good wife. Even though she said such outrageous words, she was still trying to understand herself. If there wasn't someone else around, I would have really wanted to put her in my arms and kiss her hard. Miwa. Sakaki Bara waved his hand and dismissed the fantasy in his mind. Okay, that's just nonsense in July. I'll ask you one last time, are you going to Comic-Con? If you are going, raise your hands. Tianhai's Higsu was the first to lift it up. Okay. Yuki counts as one, Sakaki Hara agreed immediately. Tianhai Juli Yulai was a little hesitant. It's indeed a bit hot today, but if Lejun wants to go, well, then go. Good wife. They say Lejun shouldn't shout like that. Okay. Sakakibara finally looked at Nanami. Nanami, what about you, Nanami? Good wife, Tian Haikaimingu suddenly snorted and closed her eyes. Of course I won't go, so as not to see you and your good wife making love to each other in front of me. Raku Sakakihara cleared his throat. Ahem. Ruri, it seems there are a lot of cute hairpins and headwear at the comic exhibition. Do you want me to buy you some more? When Tian Haikaimingu immediately opened her eyes, Tian Haijuli Yulai smiled and agreed, okay, it's best to have a small shark style. Little shark style? This is not possible. I bought it for you Li Yulai. What will I do in July? Then I'll give one to Kyo. The things I gave you to Li Yulai are left in Kyo. Wouldn't it be too pitiful for Kyo? No, no, she is very happy staying at home alone. Anyway, no matter how much Lejun buys me, I will just keep one for Kyo. Luli is really kind-hearted. After all, I am my sister, so I should. Tian Haikaimingu listened to the whole thing without even looking at the two of them. A clumsy way to provoke a general. Sakakibara laughed, are you going to go in July? Go, why not go? Isn't that right? After breakfast, pack up and let's go. There are few ways to deal with July. The provoking method is the most effective move. The root cause is that July is the biggest jealous person in the family. Sakakibara remembered that one day he just stayed with Ruri for a while and didn't take care of her. She seemed to be sulking when she talked that week. Specific manifestations include, cold eyes, inability to answer questions, reading all the time, and finding fault with others. Obviously they are all shortcomings, but when Raku Sakakihara thinks about it carefully and thinks of Kyo's usual aloof and cold demeanor, he can't help but smile. I really don't know what I'm thinking about in my head every day, and I always smile incomprehensibly. On the crowded train, Sakakibara Raku and Amami Nanamijetsu stood together, while Amami Kururi and Yuki stood on the other side. The carriage was swaying, and when Sakakibara subconsciously stopped Amami Nanamayu in front of him, he heard her cold words. He knew she was angry. I was wrong. Huh, Tian Haichi Minjai reluctantly agreed. In the crowded morning rush hour tram, she slightly raised her head and looked at someone's chin. What's wrong? Sakakibara held the hanging ring with his hand and tried his best to smile at the girl in his arms. It's my fault that I shouldn't have made fun of you in Kyo with Li Yulai. You want to say I'm stingy? This doesn't happen. Tian Haikaimingu placed her hand on his waist. Your smile looks forced. Stingy? No, no, no. How can this be called stingy? This makes me realize your endless love for me in Chu. It's not too late for me to be happy. Glib-tongued, Tian Haichi Minjia put her hands down from his waist. Continue. Sakakibara knew that his wife just liked to be coaxed by him, so he continued. Look at Kyo, when it comes to love, don't both men and women have possessiveness towards each other? The specific manifestation is that they don't like him to communicate with the opposite sex and have too deep contact with the opposite sex. And in Kyo, your love for me is too deep. That's why Li Yulai and I fell into such a crude provocation. Then I think you are so nice in Kyo, you actually care so much about me spending more time with you, so I want to take you out more, buy you gifts, make you happy and so on. You are my girlfriend, when you are happy and smile, I will also be very happy. Girlfriend. Sakakihara Raku quickly changed his words, my wife is my favorite wife. Who told you to call me that? Myself, of course. Sigh. My little wife is so overbearing. The next second, his waist was twisted into a twist. Domineering? Do you want to regain your position at my place at night? Not at all. Before you come up with this idea, why not think back to your fighting ability a while ago? It only lasted 4 days and you couldn't do it? Is this called a man? This Sakakihara Raku was not convinced. 4 days, You are very strong, okay. I don't feel there is anything that can be called strong. Okay, okay, Chi-Chi, don't be angry. Give me a reason. Because I like you. Tian Haikaimingu stared at him for a while, knowing that he was glib, but now she didn't want to argue with him for some reason. Forget it. It's just a small matter in the first place. Then can I see you wearing cosplay clothes today? Excessive. Not at all, I just want to enjoy a different July. No way. Sakakihara smiled, that's okay, you have the final say in July. The inside of the tram was swaying. There was a huge queue outside the exhibition. Suzu Sakakihara was sitting in the rest area checking her cell phone, waiting for the official opening of the Tokyo Messe, when her cell phone received the message, "We have arrived," from her brother. So fast? I seemed to be quite concerned about it. Just as she was about to put down her phone, Kyuuka Maruyama on the other side came over. Is Sakakibara-kun about to arrive? Sakakihara Suzu didn't expect that Kyuka-senpai would be so enthusiastic. She protected her phone with some embarrassment, then nodded, that's right. Then do you need me to go out and pick him up? There are quite a few people queuing up outside, and the sun is much brighter today than yesterday. No, no, I told him that he can come in through the staff passage. That's good. After Maruyama-juka nodded, he sat back to his original position. Sakakibara Suzu could tell that Kyuka-senpai had dressed up a little when he went back last night. Not only was his hair arranged more perfectly, he also wore a flower on the side of his head, and even his makeup was put in a lot of effort. Senior Juhua, is this all that matters? You have only met my brother for less than a few hours, why do you need to be so formal? Was it really love at first sight? Even though Sakakihara Suzu was angry that someone dared to take advantage of her brother, she was even more surprised by his charm. He's not that charming, is he? So, Sakakihara Suzu took the opportunity to secretly ask the other two seniors in the lounge. Kiyomiya held the work manual and thought for a while, Sakakibara-kun? If you ask me to comment, his appearance is the type that most girls will fall in love with at a glance. I wonder if you, Suzu, have paid attention to the entertainment of the last century. Circle, if Nakamori Akina were on the male side, she would be almost equal to Sakakibara-kun's appearance in the eyes of girls. Second Harumi-senpai, who has always been very quiet, spoke very simply. She only said two words, very handsome. When Sakakihara Suzu heard this, it was like a bolt from the blue, and she suddenly realized. It turns out that the tattered and crooked old cabbage from home is like braised pig's trotters in the eyes of other girls. The same big braised pig's trotters I saw after months of starvation. No wonder. No wonder Senior Juhua is so concerned. I have never met anyone more handsome than my brother in love. Okay, I can roughly understand Juka-senpai's mood. But she had to take revenge for basically taking up all of her brother's time yesterday. Moreover, having two foxes at home is already enough for me. Can I bring another fox into the house? That won't work. Absolutely not. Senior Juhua, do you mind if my brother has a girlfriend now? I don't mind. Kuka Maruyama put down the phone, his expression full of confidence. Some people will naturally take a fancy to excellent people, and those who are ahead of me just have better luck than me. I won't mind if he has. I don't have a girlfriend, as long as I perform well enough in the future. Maruyama Kuka raised her arm slightly and pointed her palm towards herself, and I have enough appearance conditions to make Sakakibara-kun like me. Sakakihara Suzu. It's good to be confident, but seniors, you also. It doesn't matter if you side with Xiaoling's girlfriend, I will take care of it. Sakakihara Suzu can't deal with someone with such invincible self-confidence. Girls like Juka-senpai can easily be regarded as stupid and stupid rich young ladies. But Senior Juhua is really not stupid. She is a magazine model. Still a voice actor. And judging from the conversation with my brother yesterday, the senior is also a master of love and an old fox. Old fox. It just so happened that today I called Sister Kia over. Hey, the battle between two foxes. It's interesting to think about it. For the next time, Sakakibara Suzuya stopped moving, just waiting for Sakakibara Raku to come over. Asterisk. In about 10 minutes. The door to the lounge was pushed open, and the person who came was Raku Sakakihara, who had greeted everyone yesterday and said he would come again. As soon as Maruyama Kuka saw him coming, he stood up and said hello. I didn't expect Sakakibara-kun to come so early. Sakakibara nodded politely, good morning. By the way, I went back and tried the snack Maruyama-san told me yesterday, and it worked. Succeeded? It is indeed Sakakibara-kun. Come in and sit down. Maruyama Kuka enthusiastically wanted to invite Sakakibara Raku to sit down, but unexpectedly, as soon as he stepped aside, the person following him suddenly appeared. The first time she saw the beautiful face of the girl with long flaxen hair, she was stunned. This look. This figure. Is this what Kosuzu said, Sakakibara-kun's girlfriend? And it seems like there is a twin sister behind her with the same appearance. Maruyama Kuka never expected it, never expected it. The girlfriend Xiaoling mentioned seems to be really difficult. Just as Sakakihara Raku was seriously introducing Ruri Nanyuyuki and others, Amami Nanami's keen intuition discovered that there was a pair of eyes staring at him in the lounge. This was not a friendly glance, but a speculative and even tactical glance. Tenkai Kaimingyu looked over with the feeling, and happened to look at each other with Maruyama Kuka who was looking over. The two just looked at each other. The first time Tenkai Kaimingyu saw the other party, she felt a kind of potential hostility from the other party. It's like eating a piece of meat in your mouth, while another bush hides a pair of eyes that flicker on and off. Sakakihara Suzu happened to see the scene from the corner, and her heart was filled with joy. Coming, coming, the war is coming. Sister July. Chase away this alien fox. I support you. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tou Lan. Chapter 483. Great War. Great War. But thinking that way, the development of the plot was beyond Sakakihara Suzu's expectations. Chi Minjayu didn't say much, and Senior Juhua didn't show much after Chi Minjayu appeared. He just talked to everyone normally. This is wrong. Doesn't Senior Juhua look like he is destined to win over his elder brother? And the big fox in July will never allow other women to come to the brother's side. How come the situation has calmed down? Sakakihara Suzu was puzzled and could only attribute the reason to the fact that foxes are very cunning. Fortunately, she didn't have to go to work early this morning, so she had enough time to wait for the show to start. Finally, Senior Juhua couldn't bear it any longer. She sat next to her, secretly glanced at the people sitting diagonally opposite and asked in a low voice. Xiaoling. Senior, what's wrong? Sakakihara Suzu also responded quietly. Which one is Sakakibara-kun's girlfriend? The older sister or the younger sister? Can I answer that they are all? I'm afraid this answer will scare the innocent Senior you to death. What do you think, Senior? Maruyama Juka's mind was very sharp. It should be my sister. Senior, have you noticed? After all, she is the only one who has been paying attention to me since they came here. I have to admit it. Sister Chi's smell is really powerful. Sister Liulai didn't notice anything. Sister Kyo could tell who the enemy was at a glance. But since Sister Kyo came in, Senior Juhua has been a little timid and afraid to take the initiative. How does this work? Senior, didn't you say that your beauty is above all else? It would be boring not to fight. It would be too boring to shake hands with fans at work over and over again. So Suzu Sakakihara decided to have some fun by fanning a few people. Senior was scared after seeing my brother's girlfriend. Afraid, Maru Yamajuka sat in a very formal and elegant manner, but after hearing this, she frowned. Why am I afraid? Then Senior, why don't you take the initiative to talk to my brother? I need to collect information. Maru Yamakuka put the phone screen in front of Sakakihara Suzu. Sakakihara Suzu smiled holily. Senior, didn't you say that your appearance is the most important thing? Silence. Seeing this, Sakakihara Suzu continued to be angry. Or do you think Senior hopes that a rare and handsome guy like my brother will be left to other women? Maru Yamajuka was speechless for a moment. Regarding Sakakibara Raku, she was indeed moved. There is no need to mention appearance again. After talking with each other yesterday, she discovered that she and he also have a common hobby, cooking. This is extremely rare among boys. Just as she commented yesterday, he probably has more cooking knowledge and is more insightful than the Michelin chef he hired at home. Just from the methods and key points he said yesterday, she was convinced. Fall in love at first sight and be convinced by mouth. Is it possible to just let the swan meat reach your mouth without doing anything? After listening to Sakakihara Suzu's words, Maru Yamakuka was even more determined to take the initiative. She straightened her mind a little, looked at Sakakihara Raku who was communicating with Amamai Kuruori in front of her, and walked forward to talk. Sakaki. Ms. Maruyama. Well, I remember that your father should be Mr. Laurent Anastasia Fitzroy, a cosmetics merchant from France. Maru Yamakuka stopped and looked at Tenkai Nanamai with a smile. Tenkai-san seems to know my family very well. Her full name is, Nine Flowers Eleanor Anastasia Fitzroy. Among them, Eleanor comes from her mother's French name and Anastasia and Fitzroy come from her father and ancestors. The only people who can call out their father's full name at once are those in his father's circle. Tian Hai Kaiming Yu, it just so happens that nearly 2 years ago, my father happened to handle a commercial case. The client at that time was probably Mr. Laurent. When she said this, Maru Yamakuka frowned and thought about it a little. My father was involved in a troublesome situation in Tokyo, and it seems that he hired a good lawyer to help him litigate the case. My father also said that whether he can win the battle depends on the lawyer, because the opponent is a group that is famous in the entire country. What is it called? Tian Hai Group? Tian Hai? Could it be that this person's surname is Tian Hai now? Kuka Maruyama has completely figured it out. Hurrah! Give yourself a warning from the beginning. Let yourself think clearly about the importance of the Tian Hai family in Japan before taking action. Maru Yamajuka decisively sat back. Senior, why are you back? Sakakihara Suzu felt really disappointed when she saw that her fun was gone. Misjudgment, that woman is much more powerful than I thought. Because her surname is Tian Hai? But the Tian Hai family won't take matters into their own hands, right? In my opinion, Senior, you should face the difficulties. You know, Sister Kyo. Don't pull my ears. I really don't know if you can't find anything to do every day. Come with me. Maru Yamakuka turned his head and saw Sakakibara Suzu being lifted up by the right ear by Amamai Nanamajetsu. The relationship between the two seems to be very good. I have something to do with her. Amamai Nanamajetsu only left these words, and under everyone's gaze, she walked out of the lounge holding Sakakibara Suzu's ears. If it weren't for Sakakihara Suzu's excellent acting skills and her polite smile all the time, her appearance would have been ruined in front of everyone. Outdoor corridor. Sakakibara Suzu then returned to normal, smiling happily facing Nanamai. Sister Kyo. I am not. It's not what? Aren't you trying to make a fire on purpose? Tian Haikaimingu looked cold. Aren't I bored? The next second after she finished speaking, she was hit on the head. Sakakihara Suzu felt aggrieved and did not dare to speak in front of her sister. Tian Haikaimingu crossed her arms. Okay, stop talking about these things. Why did you call me here today? It was my brother who shouted. Seeing Amami Nanami's eyes suddenly open, Sakakihara Suzu immediately changed her mind. Okay, I was the one who shouted. So, I asked everyone to come together. On the one hand, I want Sister Kyo to watch the other foxes, and on the other hand, I want you to have fun at the comic exhibition. My brother is waiting for me alone in the lounge. It's so boring. Tian Haikaimingu couldn't help but look at her. Sister Chan can think like this now. What else? The relationship between you, Sister Liulai, and my brother is already unbreakable. I can only occasionally complain that you are taking up my time. The rest of the time must be given to you. After all, no matter what, in the end, it is you who let me. The happiness gained. Tian Haikaimingu suddenly fell silent, and she heard other meanings in Sister Jiang's words. Bell. What do you think of our current relationship? I already call you Sister Kyo, and we can take a bath together every day. What's going on? Sister Kyo, you don't have to worry about me. I'm just because of a certain bastard who suddenly appeared recently. I remember that brother took care of me. There are too many of me. I am stupid, and I can't do anything. I can't give anyone any extra affection. So, I see him staying with me these 2 days because he takes care of my emotions. I was touched but also felt that there was nothing I could do for him. Then, Ling called everyone over. This emotion sounds quite humble. After all, it is good for one person, but you have to rely on a third person to complete it. Even though Ling was always smiling, Tian Haikaimingu felt that she was the one who was most susceptible to the cold among them. After all, she has nowhere to give. Most of her space was occupied by herself and her sister. Hey! Don't take these words to mean that I'm leaving. I won't leave without saying goodbye like my brother did. That would be the most heartbreaking. Tian Haikaimingu felt a little emotional. How do you describe today's bells? It was when she began to officially include everyone in the family. Not only would she ask herself to help exclude others, but she would also take the initiative to ask herself to take care of someone for her, not wanting someone to be too boring to be alone. Although this little emotion is completely unnecessary, it can also be seen that Ling really wants to take care of someone. Tian Haikaimingu smiled softly. I suddenly feel that my brother is living a little too happily. Everyone around him is thinking about him. Suzu Sakakihara answered extremely seriously this time. I think I have suffered so much before, but no one has come to repay him. Brother, he is said to be very easy to get in touch with, but after so long, it doesn't matter, one can truly get into his heart. What if my sister and I hadn't come to this house? Didn't come? Well, I will definitely do my best. What else do you have to do? Maybe, but if Sister Chan was alone, she would definitely have to be arrogant for a few more years before she becomes what she is now. That's not necessarily the case. Asterisk. Sakakibara didn't know what Aling and Kyo said outside, and they didn't come back until more than 10 minutes. After coming back, Aling will go to work and go to the exhibition to receive fans. When she and her colleagues left, she kept telling herself, Liulai, Kyo and the others to go out and play quickly. Sakakihara Raku didn't even know what she was so concerned about. But it's really not interesting to stay in the lounge all the time. It's better to take Zhigzhu, Liulai, Kyo and the others to visit the exhibition. After all, it is a C exhibition. There are all game-related and animation-related products here. There are everything from peripherals, blind boxes, clothes, and light novels. Some stalls were lined up in long and neat rows, while some stalls were deserted. Tianhai's Higsu always shows unusual curiosity when it comes to some novel gadgets. I kept going to the stalls to look. What is this? What is that? What is that? Every time I have to take a few people with me. So much so that Sakakihara Raku felt like a parent accompanying his children to play together. Ellie, why are there so many people with blue hair? Why are they holding green onions in their hands? I've never seen them before. Ah! There are also red ones. And they are carrying such a big sword. This is called cosplay. What is this? It's so ugly, and it has a tail. This is Frisia, his tail is made of plastic. Also, Yuki, don't think about running to grab other people's tails. Follow me and don't get lost again. Alright. Along the way, the conversation between the two made Tianhai Julie Yulai laugh. How about Lejun take Yuki to play with this? Raku Sakakibara held Amami Nazuki's hand and turned back, try cosplay. Yeah, Tianhai Julie Yulai nodded quickly, very interested. Tianhai Chi Minjiao looked reluctant, okay, but I won't wear these shameful clothes anyway. The matter was decided happily. Exhibition C has a dedicated dressing room, as well as a place for renting cos clothing. After all, it is a big market, with everything available. As soon as they arrived at the stall, the pink and blue-haired Ram and Rem came over and asked several people about their needs and what characters they wanted to cosplay. They had all kinds of clothes here. As they talked, the twins put their feet up and stretched out their hands to show how big their stall was. Amami Kuruori turned around and asked Sakakibara Raku for his opinion. How could Sakakibara Raku know these things? He didn't know many anime characters, so he just let them watch. After several people selected clothes at the stall, they also chose a set for Sakakibara Raku. What kind of role is this? Sakakihara looked at the black clothes and the black sword in his hand, and couldn't figure it out for a long time. Kirito Raku-kun doesn't even know. Fortunately, Suzu is a voice actor. Raku-kun actually hasn't watched as many anime as me. Kirito, I still know this, Raku Sakakibara suddenly realized, and looked up at the smiling Amami Kuruori. So, Ruri, what do you want to cosplay? Don't tell Lejun. Sakakibara turned around and asked Amami no Yuki, where is Yuki? Tianhai's Higsu also shook her head, Sister Liulai said not to let Le know. Okay, then I'll go to the dressing room to change. We'll meet here later. Okay. I had never tried cosplay before, and Sakakihara Raku didn't know what Kirito's outfit meant. After arriving in the dressing room, he still searched for pictures on his mobile phone and dressed according to the image above. The windbreaker should be open, tied with a belt in front of the chest, and the sword should be hung on the right shoulder. After these things were sorted, Sakakihara looked in the mirror in the dressing room and straightened his hair a few times. It was only 69 similar. It seems that after going out, you have to go to the stall owner to put on makeup. Thinking about this, Sakakibara went to the place where the clothes were rented. There were already 5 or 6 Kiritos standing there. Sakakihara Raku was standing in the back, which felt awkward. But people have to be thick-skinned. Ignoring the somewhat embarrassed Kirito, he sat directly in front of the makeup artist and asked her to do some trimming for him. In fact, there is not that much embarrassment. The makeup artist is a sister in her 20s who cosplays Rei Ayanami. After she started working, she kept praising herself for being handsome and saying that her face shape could only be lightened a bit. Done in 5 minutes. After putting on makeup, she had to invite herself to take a photo with her. Sakakihara Raku really had no experience, so he could only make a subtle gesture of scissor hands. After leaving the booth backstage, Sakakihara Raku didn't see where Ruri and the others were. He could only hold the plastic sword in his hand and wait for the three of them in the crowded hall. I don't know if it's because the position where he stands is too conspicuous. More than 10 people came to take photos with him. Is this how cosplay turns out to be? After taking photos with the 13th person, Raku Sakakibara finally waited for the person to come. First is Yuki. I don't know why she changed into a pink sportswear, and then put on long pink hair. She wore a yellow and blue square hair accessory on the right side of her hair. She was holding a girl who didn't know where to find it. Here comes the electric guitar. The first thing Amami no Yuki did when she came over was to look at Raku Sakakibara, who had turned into Kirito. Happy. The voice is still so small. What is your role? It seems to be called Ichiri Goto. Amami Yuki took out her phone and showed Sakakibara Raku the image. Not to mention, the dull look is a bit similar. Where are your two sisters? They'll have to wait a while. Has it changed in July too? Well, I was dragged in by Sister Liuli. Sakakihara smiled, then let's wait here for a while. Good. Amami Nazuki stood obediently next to Sakakibara Raku. Since it was a comic show and she looked so sweet and cute, people naturally came to talk to her and ask for photos. At this time, Yuki showed off her ability as a silly mascot. After a while, a lot of people surrounded her, shouting so cute, and calling her Porchi-chan. Poka-chan. Poka-chan. Is the guitar in your hand real? Someone else asked her this. Tianhai's Higsu paused for 2 seconds before looking down at the electric guitar in his hand. He raised his head and replied to everyone, borrowed it? Will that play? To play, you have to plug it in. Enthusiastic people are enthusiastic. Once they heard that she knew how to do it, they felt that she was socially insecure, so they immediately found a socket for Porchi-chan and plugged in the borrowed electric guitar. Tianhai's Higsu still looked at everyone a little blankly. What do you want to hear? Listen to the most explosive thing. Tianhai's Higsu looked at the electric guitar in his hand and fell silent. Seeing this scene from the side, Sakakihara Raku silently raised his hands and blocked his ears. In just 2 or 3 seconds, a deafening solo shocked the audience. I don't know if it was because the venue was already noisy, but there was only excitement in everyone's eyes. Unparalleled excitement. No reason, just because they really found a Poka-chan who can play the electric guitar. This is like an anime character appearing next to you. Immediately excited. Then he asked Tianhai's Higsu to come again, and then come again. Of course, little Yuki didn't care, and immediately used the skills she had accumulated for more than 10 years, shocking everyone with her skills. The sound of the electric guitar was so dazzling that everyone praised him repeatedly. Porchi-chan. Let's play a song about adolescent syndrome. Tianhai's Higsu looked dumb, answered truthfully, and shook her head, I haven't heard of it. Cos Lonely Rock, but I have never heard the opening song of Lonely Rock, which naturally aroused everyone's confusion. But who is Yuki? After someone plays the melody to her, she can play it immediately. As soon as the song came out, within a short time, people in front of her were crowded. Sakakibara Raku was so embarrassed. He obviously asked Yuki to come out and test the waters, so why did he let her become the protagonist of the comic exhibition? About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tou Lan. Chapter 484. Click click click. Let's talk about what Yuki lacks most after cosplay. That's the person to take a picture with. Probably because she had rarely had such contact with people, Sakakibara found that when she faced many people, she was in a dazed state, constantly receiving information from everyone. She looks very cute in this state and is very popular. Just standing there and watching her for a while, Raku Sakakihara saw the thoughts of why is she so cute, floating on the surface from the faces and actions of several anime lovers. Take photos, take photos, take photos. What makes Raku Sakakibara feel most comfortable as a bystander is everyone's unstinting praise and love for Yuki. Everyone was also very measured and tried not to say anything about Yuki's physical contact. This time, Sakakihara couldn't help but smile on his face. This is right. A simple, cute, and innocent person like Yuki should be welcome to this level. Legend. As he sighed in his heart, a slightly naughty voice appeared behind his ears, and another hand tapped Sakakibara's left shoulder. With this title and this voice, Sakakihara Raku knew without even thinking about it that it was Amamai Kuruuri. Subconsciously, he immediately turned sideways and looked back. Stunned. Luli. It's me, how about it? Tianhaijuli Yulai has her hands behind her back and a smile on her face. Her dress and the thin sword on her waist are not. Asuna, Sakakibara said the name subconsciously. How's it going? Tianhaijuli Yulai said, and even walked around in front of him. The red and white uniform of the Blood Alliance Knights, with an unexpectedly handsome white tail trailing behind the bright red skirt. Not only did she wear white knee-high socks with a blood-red cross insignia, but the red scabbard on her waist was also particularly restored. Sakakihara looked around Ruri. He also noticed that she had tied up her flaxen hair in a wheat braid at the back of her head, just like Asuna did. This outfit fully reflects the female figure and has the extra coolness of combat attire. Good restoration. Sakakibara looked left and right and could only come to this conclusion. He came to Tianhaijuli Yulai's face and asked, Li Yulai, why have your eyes changed color? Wearing brown contact lenses. No wonder. Doesn't it look good? Tianhaijuli Yulai smiled and put his hands behind his back. Nice. Lejun, do you think I'm a little handsome? Ruri is usually quite handsome. Raku Sakakibara stopped and looked at the somewhat proud Amamai Kuri. No wonder you want me to wear Kirito's clothes. It turns out you came up with Asuna's cosplay yourself. Li Yulai's cosplay is refreshing. In addition to Li Yulai being very beautiful, her hair color matches Asuna just right. The quality of the cosplay costumes hired by the merchant is also surprisingly good. He is Kirito. She is Asuna. This is a perfect match. Sakakibara looked at Kirito's clothes again, and inexplicably had the idea of taking a photo with Ruri to pose. Maybe this is the fun of comic conventions. Together with my girlfriend, I cosplay anime characters with couple attributes. Sister has these little thoughts in her heart. When he saw Amamai Nanamajetsu coming over in the same costume, Amamai Kururi, who transformed into Asuna, hugged Sakakibara Raku's arm and immediately laughed. What do you call this little thought? Amamai Nanamajetsu of Asuna too didn't say a word, she just half closed her eyes and stared at her sister hugging Sakakibara Raku. Why doesn't she understand what her sister is thinking? My sister just wanted to use her identity as Asuna to take some so-called couple photos with someone and show off in front of her. She had not wanted to wear these clothes. But when she thought about her sister endlessly inviting her brother to take photos and showing off in front of her, she had no choice but to wear it. After Tianhai Kaimingyu saw through her sister's thoughts, her expression was a little subtle. Why is my sister always trying to declare her status in front of me lately? Amamai Kururi hugged Sakakibara Raku's arm, hugged him tighter, and asked with a smile, is there any? My sister started again. Tianhai Kaimingyu decided not to tolerate her, and suddenly sighed with relief and shook her head. Oh, that's right. After all, someone has been clinging to me recently, but he doesn't care about my sister that much. I can understand that my sister wants to try her best to get someone. The idea of people paying attention. After hearing this, Tianhaijuli Yulai was not angry. After all, you are weak in Kyo and you need more care in the near future. As your biological sister in Kyo, this is the care you should take. Isn't it a problem caused by my sister's lack of charm? Of course not, it's July instead. Isn't it all about special care these days? Stop, stop, stop. Sakaki Hararaku heard that this was full of black threads. Why did the two sisters start to quarrel again in the blink of an eye? What's going on? Weren't you okay just now? Tianhai Kaimingyu was the first to respond, it's nothing, it's just a small-scale fight with my sister. Tianhai Julie Yulai also smiled and said, Lejun, don't you think Shikio and I are like this less often? It's okay, just bickering. There's no need to argue about these things. I'll take care of them all. I'll take care of them all. Both girls are good girls and good sisters, but when they get together, they get jealous from time to time. Sakaki Hararaku also tried his best to take care of both of them at the same time. For example, now, even when taking photos together, Kyo Liulai must be taken together. Sakaki Hara called Yuki over to take pictures of several people. Liulai was very enthusiastic and cooperative, and she was very attentive in holding the sword and posing. She was so good in normal life that Raku Sakaki Hara almost forgot that Ruri had some otaku attributes and liked game animations and so on. July was relatively embarrassed by these actions. But it was okay after getting used to it. This also leads to a strange phenomenon. In the entire comic exhibition venue, Kirito was the only one taking pictures with the two Asunas. The other Kiritos without Asuna were resting next to the stone pier with their black swords in their arms. Sakakibara could clearly feel the particularly resentful looks they were looking at him in the corner. What's there to be resentful about? Don't you have a girlfriend who can accompany you to the comic exhibition for cosplay? Beautiful girls and excellent cosplay will naturally attract many people. What's more, Liulai and Kyo are still twins. In addition to some enthusiasts, there are also domestic and overseas professional media who came to take photos of them. Overall, it can be considered a good and novel experience. After the clothing rental period ended, the few of them changed back into their daily clothes and began to visit the comic exhibition. From then on, it was Tianhai Julie Yulai's world. She wanted to buy all kinds of peripheral comics and so on, and read them when she had time. Afterwards, Tianhai Kaimingyu suggested going to the R18 area of the Dajin exhibition. Tianhai Julie Yulai kept shaking her head and refused to go. She also used Yuki as an excuse, saying that she couldn't look at the things there. What's in there? Tianhai's Higsu asked Tianhai Kaimingyu directly. Tianhai Kaimingyu replied matter-of-factly, it's something that can make people grow up a lot overnight. If you want to go in, just say that you are 18 years old. There will be no checks. Then Amamai no Snow immediately looked at Sakakibara Raku, let's go in and take a look. Sakaki Hararaku's head is full of black lines, how can he show Yuki what's inside? What nonsense are you talking about in July? I'm just stating the facts. Tianhai Julie Yulai was a little shy and curious, have you seen the things in there in July? Sister, instead of being curious about whether I have seen it, shouldn't you be curious about whether brother has seen it? Adolescent males can always find something different under the bed. This Sakaki Hararaku was not convinced. Slander. This is pure slander. He explained with all his might. Tianhai Julie Yulai believed it completely and emphasized to his sister, Lejun is still quite pure. Brother, are you very pure? Sakakibara looked convinced, otherwise. Tenami Nanamajetsu stretched out his hand directly towards Sakakibara Raku, bring me the mobile phone. What? Sakaki Hara was stunned. Girlfriend check-in time. Sakaki Hara Raku didn't want to give it. But Liulai and Kyo both looked like they wanted to check their mobile phones. You have to give even if you don't want to. The two sisters Tianhai put their heads together. Kyo, do you know Lejun's password? It's not always Sister Chan's birthday. Okay, open it, let's take a look at the photo album first. Showing your girlfriend a photo album is undoubtedly a public execution. There are indeed some shameful photos in there. However, Sakeki Hararaku has learned to be thick-skinned, and will admit it no matter what. Amamai Kuruori accompanied her sister to look at the phone for a while, and looked at Sakaki Raku with a strange look. Raku-kun likes white knee-high socks. Raku Sakeki Hara felt a little more shy. He put his fist to his mouth and coughed twice. Ahem. When I first met you, weren't you just wearing a blue dress and white knee-high socks? I'm quite cool. Like. Tian Haikaimingu mercilessly exposed him. I remember that my sister and I were bare-legged that day. Doesn't this mean that Lejun has been hiding these photos privately for a long time? Well, sister, you can tell by looking at the date. There are many pictures from 2 years ago. Sakeki Hararaku. As her sister's fingers slid, Tianhai Julie Yulai became more and more curious. Lejun. He also saved a lot of photos of models. Why are they still there in the past 2 months? Sakeki Hararaku's photo album contains either beauties or daily photos of a few people. Tianhai Julie Yulai became angrier as he watched. Excessive. Sakeki Hararaku was a little embarrassed, but he pretended not to be embarrassed. Why is this too much? Lejun is still saving some photos from model photo albums recently. It's too much. Why? Isn't it enough for you to see me and Kyo? Tianhai Julie Yulai said with an angry expression. Obviously I already have a girlfriend, but to save pictures of other women is too much. Tianhai Kaimingyu slid her finger and clicked on someone's private collection one by one. Delete them all. Delete them all. Don't. Huh, Tianhai Julie Yulai glared over. Sakeki Hararaku felt like crying without tears. The treasures he had collected for so many years were brutally murdered. Lejun, do you have anything else to explain? I just think their clothes are very beautiful. I want to save them so you can wear them next time. Bikini is also a very beautiful piece of clothing. Isn't it? Tianhai Kaimingyu retracted her gaze decisively and immediately said to her sister, half truth and half lie, sister doesn't need to believe everything. Tianhai Julie Yulai nodded convincingly, yes. I never thought that Lejun would be such a person before. Neither Kyo nor I have any pictures of handsome guys in our phones. That's because you two don't like handsome guys at all. It doesn't look like there's anything extra in the photo album. Have you finished checking the photo album? Can you return the phone to me now? Tianhai Kaimingyu replied without raising her head, where are we now? We still need to check the browser. Browser? That thing. Sakeki Hara couldn't describe the process of waiting. I just noticed that Li Yulai's expression changed from curious at the beginning to even more curious. Well, this is considered a public execution. Tianhai Kaimingyu held her chin. I didn't expect there to be so much content. It seems that my brother prefers the theme of adopted sisters. Here. To be thick-skinned, you must be thick-skinned. Isn't this consistent with reality? I just look at it at night. Tianhai Julie Yulai's face was already red. Then Lejun has it now. Why are you still looking at these things? Tianhai Kaimingyu nodded towards the phone screen. This is an insult to our identity. It's not like last time I was accidentally bumped into by my mother and caused a series of oolongs. And what's going on is what's going on, what's going on, what's going on, these are two different things. This is an insult to our identity. Tianhai Kaimingyu repeated these words. Then what do you think we should do? Tianhai Kaimingyu sorted out her thoughts and said directly. If you need it, just tell us directly. Why bother looking at these intangible things? Chi-Chi was unexpectedly bold, and he could say this openly outside. Although no one paid attention here, Yuki couldn't understand these words. Uncle has spoken. Tianhai Kaimingyu waved her hand and interrupted directly, brother, Are you that kind of so-called good boy? You can't do it in the open, and you can't sneak around at night. Is this a hint to myself? That's clear. Tian Hai Kaimingyu and Tian Hai Julie Yulai suddenly went to the other side to communicate for a while, and then walked back. Nanamai crossed her arms, held Raku Sakakibara's cell phone in her hands and said seriously, after unanimous discussion with my sister, we decided to control someone's recent depressed life. Sakakihara Raku didn't understand, that is to say. All the pictures have been deleted. In exchange, I told someone a piece of information, my father and aunt are spending tonight at Tian Hai's house. Sakakibara understood immediately, where? Sister's room, my sister and I are together. Sakakibara turned around and looked at Amamai Yuki aside. It was discovered that she didn't listen to the exchanges between several people at all, but kept looking at the countless anime characters at the comic exhibition. Do you agree? Sakakihara Leto glanced at the twin sisters in front of him and understood. There's no reason not to agree. Asterisk. Overall, I had a good time at Comic-Con today. After finishing their stroll, several people went to check on Aling's working status. This girl is very lively sometimes. When she was free, she saw a few people looking at her outside the exhibition, and the right ones made a scissor hand gesture. After she got off work, Sakakibara showed Asuna the Amamai sisters' cosplay to Suzu. It's beautiful. Hey, bro, do you like Asuna? No, this is Liulai's suggestion. Well, by the way, bro, how about you come and help me with my homework tonight? Why do you suddenly want me to help you with your homework? School is about to start. I want to work hard and try to get into the same university as you, brother. Not tonight. Why? Sakakihara Suzu pouted. Anyway, I can't do it tonight. Aling, it's great that you act like an idol. So many fans like you and even come to shake your hand. I have to wear gloves when shaking hands. Hey. Don't change the subject. Come and help me with my homework tonight. Not tonight. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tou Lan. Chapter 485. After school started, Raku Sakakihara put his head in his hands, lying on the bench in the backyard of the campus, looking up at the blue sky. Summer is gradually fading away, and even if there is still a bit of the sultry aftertaste of the dog days in the air, it is taken away by the sea breeze that follows. The white clouds drifted and the green trees swayed gently. The crisp sound of a baseball hitting past the school building and drifted into the distance. Sakakihara lay on Zhongai's bench for almost half an hour. When he noticed the breath of someone next to him, he turned his head in another direction. Cover the clothes in front of your belly. After running, your belly is the worst place to be exposed to wind. It's starting to cool down. Why don't you take a good look at the weather? Do you want to catch a cold? As soon as he turned around and saw the girl's shadow, a school uniform jacket flew into his face. Sakakibara grabbed his coat, looked at the school uniform in his hand, and then looked up at Amamai Nanamajetsu who was standing on one side holding a book. She wore gold-rimmed glasses, a Western-style school uniform, a pleated skirt, black stockings, and flaxen hair. The silk swayed in the wind, and the slender figure reflected the Tokyo skyline at dusk. Tian Hai Kaimingyu always looks more intellectual when she wears glasses. Sakakibara grabbed the coat and laughed, did you bring it to me specially? Tian Hai Kaimingyu didn't seem to hear his question. She crossed her arms and said to herself, since there is no need to go to the company after school starts, my brother should take more care of himself. It is common sense not to keep blowing the wind after running. Right. This girl has to act like an indifferent outsider when she cares about people. Forget it, I'm too lazy to say anything about her, Chi-Chi has always had this kind of character. there is a thick protective shell on the outside of my heart, and I always subconsciously keep a distance from other people, appearing particularly distant. Ah, I can't believe that the first day of school has been spent like this. I feel like I haven't done anything. Sakakibara put on his clothes, stood up, and stretched. He smiled at the girl next to him. Do you feel that time flies a little too fast in July? Aling's concert is about to start on the weekend. I want to lament that time has to wait until I get older. Tian Haikimingyu closed her eyes. After I finish running, I will go to the library with me to sit for a while and wait for my sister to finish handling the club's affairs. What if I get old? What if I get too old and can't take care of you in Kyoto? Then let me take care of you, okay? That's pretty much it? Sakakibara smiled, pulled up the school bag that was placed next to the bench, slung it over his shoulder, and came to Amami Nanamayuki's side in a few steps, walking side by side with her towards the library. What if I suddenly become too old to walk? I'll carry you. Can't eat? I'll bite it into pieces and feed it to you. Can't go to the toilet? Bring it to you every day. Why are you so nice to me? I love you. So disgusting. You still dislike it? Haha, just kidding, just kidding. When he came to the library, Sakakihara randomly picked a novel and sat at the same table as Kyo, waiting for the time to go home. Chi Minjiu's back is very straight, which shows that she has a good background. She likes to sit by the window. Sakakibara remembers that this habit of hers came from her habit of looking out the window. In the past, during lunch break, except when she sat with Liulai, she would always be alone, silently putting food into her mouth, and not forgetting to look out the window while chewing. Always looking out the window. It's as if this is no place for her. Most of the students who came to the cafeteria to eat were in small groups of 3 or 2, but she seemed to be isolated in that space, alone. Perhaps it was because the sunset was too dim. At this time, the orange-red light slanted down on the profile of Tian Haikimingyu, who was quietly reading a book, giving people an extremely melancholy and poignant feeling. Sakakibara looked at the sky and the sea like this from the opposite side, and he couldn't help but admire her appearance for a while. Sky blue eyes, a delicate nose, full and bright cherry-colored lips, and a focused and serious expression. All these factors build up her exquisite beauty like a man-made object. The beautiful girl Sakakibara Raku has seen a lot, but he has only seen a serious and elegant high school girl like July in her. But as he looked at it, Raku Sakakibara also discovered that there were 3 or 4 more books placed underneath the novel Amami Nanamajetsu was reading to elevate the position of the novel. The degree has deepened. Yes, after a brief pause, Tian Haikimingyu responded lightly. How much deeper? About 200 to 300 degrees. How long? Sakakihara asked with concern. No respond. July. Sakakibara shouted again, and Amami Nanamayu replied, I don't know. Sakakibara sighed, Kyo, just now you told me to take care of myself, why don't you take care of yourself first? Myopia is a refractive error and cannot be cured. And myopia is not a defect that will affect real life, it doesn't matter. How can this not matter? It doesn't matter if it doesn't affect real life. Regarding July's myopia, Sakakibara asked Ruri. In July, when I was in the 2nd grade of elementary school, I developed myopia, which was caused by reading too many books. Sakakibara knows that Kyo's attitude is not to take this kind of thing seriously, but myopia will only deepen. Why don't you change your prescription glasses in July? It's not a good habit to read like this. It will only make your prescription increase faster and faster. No change, Tian Haikimingyu answered quickly. Why not change? There's no need to change it, just pay more attention to it. She reads more books in July, but she has better habits, so the reading has not increased significantly over the years. However, the mismatched power of the glasses will obviously cause her myopia to increase faster over the years. Sakakibara couldn't understand why she was unwilling to change, so he wanted to persuade her. In July, it's not a big deal to change your glasses. You can change them now. No change. Still the same answer as always. Raku Sakakihara was a little distressed. He was about to ask her why she didn't want to change her glasses, but after seeing the gold-rimmed glasses she had been wearing for the past year, she suddenly remembered that the glasses she was wearing in July were from her almost a year ago. A birthday present given to her on her birthday. Of course Sakakibara Raku knew about the gold-rimmed glasses with July's name written on them. Because the frame is too thin, the lenses cannot be removed after they are bonded, otherwise the frame will be damaged. Could it be that in July, the glasses she was wearing were her first birthday gift, so she didn't want to throw them away at all? What is this? Because it was a birthday gift from me, I couldn't bear to change it. I would rather use it and feel uncomfortable than throw it away. This is simply a top-notch wife? Tian Haikaiminyu suddenly felt something in her heart. She frowned and raised her head at the same time, and found that someone sitting directly opposite was staring at her with a smile. What are you looking at me for? Sakakihara smiled even more. It's nothing, I just suddenly felt that you are so cute in Kyo. Cute. It should be described as super cute. I suddenly want to hold you in my arms and kiss you twice on the face. Unexpectedly, Amami Nanamijayu directly covered the novel in her hand with other books and said seriously, Sakakibara-san, just because I like you doesn't mean you can verbally tease me in the library. Playing hooligan? No way, I'm just saying what's in my heart. Then you're a gangster at heart. Sakakibara smiled, not going to beat around the bush, you should change your glasses in July. No matter how you say it, the prescription doesn't match your current prescription. Tian Haikaiminyu still frowned, I won't change what I said. How about I buy it for you again? I will also engrave the word July on the frame. Speaking of which, when I gave you this pair of glasses, it was the first time I learned that your nickname was July. So cute. Who's to say you keep saying I'm cute? Sakakihara smiled slightly, this sentence becomes even cuter when you say it. Tian Haikaiminyu felt that she would never be able to do anything to this thick-skinned guy, which was very troublesome. I don't want to change, it's not like it can't be used now. This is not good for your eyes, Sakakihara emphasized. These are my eyes. Then these are my wife's eyes too, so I have to take care of them. 7 bright moons in the sky. Sakakihara stood up, walked to her and took her arm, trying to pull her up. Let's go. Really going? It's about my wife's eyes, how can I not care about it? Let's set off now, and Liulai will let her take Yuki home first. Tian Haikaiminyu looked away from his smiling face and glanced at the several books piled up in front of her. Okay, Chi-Chi, pack up all the books. We're leaving now. I'll take you there. Sakakibara pulled harder and harder. Amami Nanami was worried that the close contact between the two of them would be seen by other students, but she couldn't resist him, so she had to stand up and start packing her school bag. That's right. It's only 5 o'clock now, and it won't be 5:30 when we get there. I really don't know why you are so worried. Didn't I just say that? How can I not be attracted to my wife? I don't want the old woman who feeds me to be blind in the future. After Amami Kaiminyu carried her small school bag, Sakakibara led her out of the school quickly. Outside the school gate is the ginkgo slope. The ginkgo trees in early September are still green, swaying with the wind blowing from the bay. Because it was past the initial school dismissal time, there were only a few students from Mitoko Junior High School walking down the slope. Seeing a young couple holding hands below, walking and swaying in a sweet way, Raku Sakakihara suddenly had a sudden impulse. Give me your hand in July, I will hold yours. Tian Haikiming raised her eyes. Why, aren't you afraid that your classmates will talk about you? What are you afraid of? They can't tell the difference between you and Li Yulai anyway. Tian Hai Chi Minjiao took a long look at the hand he stretched out towards her. I want an explanation of the motive. The explanation is that I found that we have been dating for so long, but we have never held hands in such a formal and open way, and we have always avoided suspicion around the school. How's it going? This is a good explanation. Reluctantly, Tian Haikiming stretched out her hand towards him, and within a moment, he held it warmly in his palm. Sakakibara smiled at the girl beside him and said, "Doesn't it feel good? Much better than you in bed." That's what you said. Walked down the ginkgo slope in front of the school gate and got on the subway. Sakakibara held Nanami's hand throughout the whole process and took her to sit down on the subway. Within 5 minutes of sitting down, Tian Haikiming understood why he insisted on dragging her to take the subway instead of calling a taxi. The carriage swayed, and someone fell on his shoulder and closed his eyes. Does it feel good to lean against me like this? Okay, why not? Having a sweet and beautiful girlfriend to lean on when taking the subway is the second most comfortable thing in life. What is the first comfort? Sleeping with my sweet and soft girlfriend. These are the things that are on my mind. It's just a hug to sleep with, don't get it wrong. Sakakibara didn't know what the basis was for suddenly wanting to be so close to Kyo, but he just wanted to be close to her, wanted to be close to her. He leaned on her already thin shoulders on the subway. He took the initiative to hold her hand on the street. When he passed by a milk tea shop, he deliberately chose a couple set meal with matching colors. Fortunately, Chi-Chi is always generous and never refuses when accepting this side of herself. She didn't find it objectionable to drink from a straw at the same time as her. Probably from the moment she chose to entrust herself to herself, Chi-Chi would never despise herself from the bottom of her heart. Asterisk. It doesn't take long to replace your glasses. But after buying new glasses and replacing the old ones, Sakakihara Raku could see that there was extreme reluctance in Nanami's eyes. She carefully wiped the lenses and carefully put the glasses back into the case. When she left the optical shop, she said with emotion, "I'm still reluctant to replace it." Sakakihara asked immediately, "Are the new glasses uncomfortable to wear?" Tian Haikiming shook her head. "What difference does it make if they are all the same style? But the meaning is gone. I want to wear those glasses all the time. After all, it is the first birthday gift you gave me. I can also give it to you this year, and the pair of glasses I just bought you won't count as a gift. The first gift always means something special, doesn't it? For me, that's special. This is true." Raku Sakakibara can more or less understand the mood of July. It can be seen that she really likes the gold-rimmed glasses he gave her. Otherwise, she wouldn't have cared about it to this extent. That day July received 2 gifts from me. It seemed like tears were streaming from the corners of her eyes. This shows how much these glasses mean to her. How about we go back and ask the clerk? Is there any way to replace the lenses? Brother, have you ever heard of the ship of Theseus? Sakakibara thought hard and said, "About the ship that has been sailing for hundreds of years. If you want a ship to sail on the sea for hundreds of years, you have to replace the rotten wood and add new wood. But after all the wood has been replaced, can the ship still be the original ship? I don't want to change anything." Sakakibara heard that Kyo actually didn't want to make any changes to those glasses. For her, the original glasses are too important. "How about we go shopping in the streets again? I'll buy you some new clothes and so on in Kyo, so you won't have to think about these things." Okay, Tian Hai Chi Minjiu didn't refuse, but her eyes were weird. "But I doubt your aesthetic sense." "My aesthetics? I have so many photos of beautiful girls on my phone before, so I'm not just trying to make ends meet. You guys only focus on sex. Slander, this is pure slander. Then what style of clothes do you want to buy me next? The bunny dress that Li Yulai wore before was pretty good, with bunny ears and long white silk legs. But you threw it away in July. What a pity. Tian Haikaimingu immediately gave him a look of contempt. Sakakihara smiled and continued shopping with Kyo. But joking aside, Sakakihara Raku wanted to help her. When he went shopping with her, he kept thinking about how to solve this problem. But to be honest, there was no good way. Keep wearing it, your eye level will only increase faster. Let's put on new glasses, she is particularly reluctant to part with them. No, you have to think about it carefully. When visiting the second clothing store, Raku Sakakihara suddenly realized it while sitting in the rest area. By the way, there is a system. I almost forgot about it. Maybe you can get some medicine to repair your eyesight. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 486. July. July month. July month. Shut up, are you going to call me July, month, and month again? Huh? How do you know? Besides, Chi, you are surprisingly cute when you call yourself that. Faced with someone who stuck to her in the literature club as soon as school was over and insisted on sitting on her lap, Tian Haikaimingu was helpless. 7. Okay, stop acting like a baby around me. It's been 3 days, what do you want to say to me? Sakakibara hugged Nanami's right arm tightly and looked at her with a smile. I just wanted to call you. Nanami's expression was indifferent. Even if one hand was hugged tightly by Sakakibara Raku, it did not prevent her from flipping through the novel with the other hand. It was quiet for a while, but someone called out the annoying name of July Moon again. Tian Haikaimingu really can't stand it anymore. If you are so clingy, I suggest you go find your sister. She will definitely be able to stick with you. How can this be possible? I just want to stick to you in July. Where's the request? Any request? I don't go to the Three Treasures Hall for anything. Since you are so good at Chinese, you must have heard this sentence, right? Sakakibara became serious. Ahem. July, is it possible that I just like you so much that I want to spend more time with you? You see, my uncle and mother go home every day these days, and we don't have any time at night. We have to sleep together. We still have to go to school and study on weekdays. It's too busy. It's too busy. Too busy? You mean you come to my literature department as soon as school is over for the past 3 days, hold my arm and call me Kiwayu? Hey, isn't this a lot of work? I like you because of you. Besides, in July, I was so clingy to you and you were not like this. Or have you changed your mind in July? You haven't been so since you fell in love with me. Like me? This is so sad. Well. Tian Haikaimingu pinched her eyebrows with her other hand in a troubled manner. I'll say it again, if you have any ideas, just say it directly. 7. Explain. Okay, actually I just want to go see a movie with you in July and ask you out on Friday. There was a long silence. That's all. If not. You came to my literature department for 3 consecutive afternoons to be so clingy just to ask me to go out and watch a movie. Does it highlight that I love you in July? Raku Sakakihara showed a kind expression. In these 3 days, I just wanted to ask you out to watch a movie in July. Tian Haikaimingu only felt that it was very strange. Even if you ask me out in the first place, I may not agree. Isn't this just to show my sincerity? How about it? In July, come go out with me after school on Friday. I will take you to Uehu Lake and watch a movie with you. There haven't been any good movies lately. Is the movie important? What's important is the date between us. Tian Hai Kaimingyu was silent for a while, then turned to look at him. Where is sister? I've coaxed Li Yulai over. I'll take her with me next time. This time I'll go out with you in Kyo. You don't take sister with you, just me. Are you very touched? I'm afraid my sister is not going to kill you. Are you very touched? A scumbag is still a scumbag. It's just. Tian Hai Chi Minjiao suddenly stopped talking. It's just what? Sakakihara approached her beautiful face and smelled the faint aroma of green apple. Kyo. Are you shy? Okay, Tian Hai Kaimingyu slapped his hand away with a serious face. Since I'm in the literature department, I'll write today's homework by the way. Why don't you write for me in July? Look, I'm so good to you, and I still want to take you out on a date alone. It's a beautiful idea. Are you going to push it too far? Tian Hai Chi Minjiao slapped his dirty hand back. Okay, if there is anything you don't understand about your studies, ask me again. Now be quiet and sit across from me. Stop holding my hand. No problem. By the way, can you wear the sky blue gradient dress that I first saw you on Friday? I think it looks very beautiful on you. I promised you to go out together, but you still asked for it? It's okay, it's okay. Asterisk. Friday, after school. The appointment time arrived as scheduled, and after taking care of other tedious matters, Raku Sakakibara went home, put away his school bag, and took a taxi to the agreed place, a Myakusho food court in Ueno. There are many snacks from Kyushu here, and there are also many izakayas with small tables set up on the street. Sushi, skewers, teppanyaki, oden, and other snacks are all available. The food street looks very appetizing just because of the colorful shop signs and various pictures. Sakakibara took out his phone and found Line's friend list. Sakakihara Raku, how long until July? 7 bright moons in the sky, within 10 minutes, indifferent shark. Sakakihara smiled and replied, cute. 7 bright moons in the sky. Li Yulai, who was at home, was actually a little jealous at first when she heard that she was going to take Kyo on a date alone. She muttered something like Lejun just likes Kyo. Sakakihara Raku also really wanted to take her with him, but the rewards given by the system's limited time event were bound to the participants. In other words, if Chi-Chi wants to use that potion, she must be a participant in the event. There is no way to refresh the mall and missions hundreds of times to get the bottle of potion that can customize the vision. Mission activity: prepare for Halloween in advance. Task goal: pretend to be a ghost and scare fellow participants once. What a bullshit activity. You have to pretend to be a ghost and scare people. After waiting for nearly 6 minutes, Raku Sakakibara saw Nanami Nanamijetsu walking slowly from the intersection. When the girl really came closer, Sakakibara took a look at her out of habit, and his usual beauty caught his eye. A sky blue gradient dress with a light red waist bag hanging around the waist. The snow shoulders are exposed and the white shoulder straps are cute. On her neatly combed flaxen long hair, she also wore a small round brown straw hat with a cartoon shark on it. Under the brim of the hat, the sky blue eyes looked very calm through the gold-rimmed glasses, but they were unexpectedly very agile. She was dressed in a cute summer style. When she walked from the street, passers-by, especially some younger people, would intentionally look at her more. Sure enough, this is the return buff that top beautiful girls bring with them when they go out. Sakakihara laughed when he saw Nanamayu at first sight. When she got closer, he took another look at her skirt, which was just above her knees. Isn't this the dress she was wearing when I first met Kyo? What a coincidence today. Did you accidentally wear it inside out? Tian Hai Kaimingyu crossed her arms and said matter-of-factly, someone is lucky. I accidentally found it when I was looking through the wardrobe today, and then I accidentally put it on. Sakakibara deliberately raised his voice, so that's it? So the light makeup on Kyo's face was accidentally applied? Or did Chiyu take the time to put it on because she knew she was going on a date with me today? Today she actually dressed up so nicely. Tian Haikimingyu was unmoved, and the corners of her mouth curved slightly. I can only say that someone is lucky today. I unexpectedly wanted to dress up before going out. It turns out it's not because you want to date me. It's because I'm being infatuated. It's good if someone is self-aware. Ha ha ha. That's it for July. He didn't say yes, and he didn't want to say yes. But I will always hear it in my heart. Isn't she still wearing this dress? She even put on makeup on purpose. Really, then just make it clear that you are looking forward to dating alone. It's not like I won't take you out. Chi-Chi, it's pointless to be too harsh. Usually you just say that the clothes are just for me to look at, and the makeup is just for a date with me. It's nothing. I told you someone was lucky, etc. What are you going to do? Before Amamai Nanamajetsu could react, Sakaki Hararaku held her little hand without saying a word and gently pecked her apple-like cheek twice. Being kissed is a trivial matter, but being kissed at the entrance of the food court in front of so many people is completely different. This is totally teasing. You guy dash. After Sakakibara lightly kissed Kyo's cheek, he smiled lightly at the somewhat angry girl. I found that Chi-Chi was very aggressive, but often as long as she kissed her in public, she would be angry or embarrassed and become speechless. You. Sakakibara immediately interrupted with a smile and coaxed his girlfriend, okay, can't you be more frank when we go on a date in July? I know you like me very much, so don't act like a hedgehog all the time. How are you doing? Tian Haikimingyu was quiet now, but she was still a little stubborn and didn't want to look at him. Sakakibara deliberately took her little hand, put it in his palm and rubbed it gently. July has been used to being a hedgehog for a lot of time, and he has to keep it that way at all times. Act like a hedgehog in front of me. Aren't shy girls pretty good? July. July month. Although I really don't want to admit it, this guy still has a way of coaxing women. Tian Hai-Chi Minjiu didn't want to look at his smiling face, so her voice became softer and said, I'm not a sister. But Chi-Chi also enjoys the state of being completely relaxed, right? I still remember you chasing after me in Chi-Chi and calling me brother in a sweet and clingy way when I was little. You guys have the nerve to talk about it before. Just because I remember what happened in the past, I feel that July is so precious now. I love you, July. There is nothing good about a man who always talks about loving you. Then I'll love you to death. Glib tongue. Sakaki Hara raised her tender white hands, but you won't refuse, right? Tian Haikimingyu looked at him for a while, and finally put her hand in his and held it together. My July month is better. Tian Haikimingyu immediately frowned, don't use this title, it's so disgusting. Ha. After the two of them entered the street and walked a short distance, they could basically see all the food along the street. Since July doesn't eat spicy food much, Sakakibara also tried to order a super spicy hash brown for her, the kind full of red chili pepper noodles. The result? Naturally, she choked after taking a bite, and left the rest to Sakakibara Raku. Passing by a cake shop, the two of them went in to take a look. July himself disdains cakes and desserts, thinking they are just sugary traps for little girls. A mature person like her would never be interested in these things. But when she saw a big shark cake with huge teeth on the cupboard, she couldn't walk immediately. July, let's go. July. Let's go. Chwayu. Let's go. Just like when Yuki saw her favorite cat doll in the store. If the cake wasn't too big for 7 or 8 people to finish, Sakeki Hararaku designated it for her. Do you like sharks that much? If someone doesn't understand, don't speak. Okay, maybe she likes sharks more than herself? Then let me go back and make one for you, okay? I'll learn how to make latte art for cakes. Real. This look is more hopeful than Yuki's. Next is the milk tea shop. They say that sweets are just sugar traps, but July is still very receptive to milk tea. There were no seats in the milk tea shop, so the two of them had to find a bench on the street to sit down, and then began to exchange snacks in each other's hands. Sakakibara glanced at the ice cream cone in Kyo's hand and said with a smile, "Let me take a bite of this." How? I suddenly want to eat something iced. I just ate spicy skewers and stuff. Then why don't you buy one again? Sakakihara covered his left eye with one hand, closed his eyes and showed a mysterious smile. Buy one? He. Are you kidding? All the delicious things called ice cream in this world are not as good as those in July's mouth, just as a person who does not know pain cannot understand true peace. An ignorant person who does not know the sweetness of July cannot understand true deliciousness. Have you watched too many anime dubbed by Suzu recently? Tian Haikaiminyu was speechless for a long time, and looked at her with disgust, but she still took the ice cream away from her mouth and handed it to him. Take it. Sakakibara only ate a little bit and gave it back to July. Chi-Chi didn't dislike what he had eaten, and continued to take small bites of the cone. Sakeki Hararaku looked at her from the side because of such an action, and felt quite touched in his heart. Tian Haikaiminyu caught his sight. What's the problem? Nothing. Sakeki Hara withdrew his eyes and stared down at the soft little hand he held in his palm. I just think that your hands are really beautiful in Kyo. Then, Tian Haichi Minjio knew that he had not finished speaking. Can you help me wash your pretty little hands tonight? Tian Haikaiminyu immediately pulled her hand back, her eyes changing from disgust to contempt. Sakeki Hara smiled and passed away, followed by what he just said. Actually, I was thinking that in Kyo, you wouldn't dislike me, wouldn't refuse me when I asked you to come out to play, and would consider the gift I gave you so important. Too touching. That's right, when I didn't have a girlfriend, if I was lonely, I would always look at the blue sky and think. It would be great if there was someone who could understand and tolerate me infinitely. She wouldn't really dislike me, and would stay with me. I play the games I like to play and do the things I like to do. Tian Haikaiminyu continued to eat the ice cream in his hand. You have quite a lot of feelings. Can't it be too much? Sakakibara took a long breath and slowly exhaled it. His gaze passed over the crisscrossed wires above the snack street and looked up at the sky full of white clouds. In July, you will fall into the world like a fairy. Tian Haikaiminyu looked at him with a cold and contemptuous look, a rather tasteful look through her gold-rimmed glasses. Then what do you want to do with my hand? Well, haha, don't be so serious. Sakeki Hara smiled again and ignored the topic with a careless eye. Actually, I still have many secrets that I can't tell and no one believes. July. Don't you want to know in July? Tian Haikaiminyu quietly ate her cone. It's nothing. If you don't want to say it, then there's a reason why you don't say it. Are you still willing to believe me unconditionally? We have gone through so many things, and you have sincerely apologized to me. I choose to believe you, and I will also believe in your own choices in the future. This is true. Move. That's right. Sakakibara looked up at the sky and squeezed her hand tighter. Kyo, you said so. Originally, I just wanted to drag you out on a date, but now I want to talk to you about what I have been buried in my heart. Then just say what you want to say, I'm listening. Then I told you. Say it. Actually, I still have some memories from my previous life. Tian Haikaiminyu just glanced at him one more time, then continued to eat ice cream. Oh. Just. Assuming what you said is true, so what? What can it change? Or is it because you suddenly awakened the memory of your previous life and suddenly went to find your previous wife? Wife, Sakakihara laughed, that's not true. After all, I couldn't get a wife in my previous life. Then I'll take it as what you said is true. Thank you for believing in me in July. Tian Haikaiminyu frowned and thought for a long time, then suddenly raised her eyes to look at him. I can probably guess where you were from in your last life. Sakakibara was extremely surprised. Kyo, you just accepted it so easily without telling me, and you guessed where I am from. After all, your Chinese skills are so good that it's weird. I had doubts before and asked Ling specifically, but she said you haven't learned much Chinese at all. Isn't your level weird in July? My sister and I have been in contact since childhood. My mother would teach us Chinese specially. Don't forget that my mother is of mixed Chinese and English descent. That's true. Sakakihara originally thought that telling this matter would bring about some changes. But it was obvious that Chi-Chi didn't care about this matter at all. Where did she come from, what did she have, and what did she have? Probably just curious about what he experienced in his previous life. It seems that your last life, brother, was not very smooth. Tian Hai Chi Minjia paid attention to his face for a few more minutes. Yes. Sakakibara admitted frankly, after all, if things go well, can I not go back and take a look? At first, I hated myself and my family in the past, but after so many years, my mood has faded a lot, and I don't care about the people in the past. How do you view yourself? After all, I now have a more important family, someone who is willing to love me, and someone I can repay for the rest of my life. Why would I go back to that prison? Sakakihara smiled with relief. When I have the opportunity, I will talk to you about my past life in Kyo again. I will also talk about this matter to Li Yulai. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 487. While shopping, Sakakihara Raku stood behind and was often attracted by Julai's outfit of a small round hat and a sky blue gradient dress. Not only is she tall and beautiful, but the main reason is that her appearance is very different from the usual Tian Haikaiminyu. Compared with the past, he is a little less distant and cold, and a little more cute and close. Especially the image of me sitting on the bench on the roadside eating a cone of ice cream in small bites was really lingering in my mind. July. What's wrong? Do you think your outfit today is particularly cute? Are you teasing me? Tian Hai Chi Minjia frowned and looked at him sideways. She just tilted her head, and Sakakibara felt that both her gold-rimmed glasses and her sky-blue eyes were shining brightly under the little straw-round hat. Praise is just a simple compliment. Sakakibara looked away, put his hands in his pockets, and continued walking on the food street. Actually, what I like most about Kyo is that I can completely trust Kyo to tell you what's in my heart. You will listen carefully and give feedback patiently. You don't dislike me in the true sense. When I get close to you, I like you, and the feelings you give me back are not false at all. Sometimes I will ask myself questions, is it worth your love in July? Tian Haikaiminyu listened silently, then what? What is your own answer? It's definitely not worth it for you to love me so much in Kyo, but because of this, I feel even more that you can love me so much in Kyo. Hearing Sakakibara Raku's emotional tone, Amami Nanamayu pondered for a second or two, then looked at his profile and asked, do you feel some guilt in your heart, brother? Did Kyo see it? Sakakihara smiled, then put away his expression and whispered, how could it not be possible? He quickly changed the subject, smiled again and said to Tian Haikaiminyu. However, now I want to turn this feeling of guilt for not taking good care of Kyo into the idea of compensating you in Kyo. I wonder if Kyo is willing to accept it? Then it depends on whether you are sincere enough in what you do. What action is considered sincere? Hug you tightly and give you a kiss. Nanamai suddenly stopped, and Sakakibara Raku also stopped soon after. He saw those bright eyes looking over. As always, the girl's face was as calm as water. Still slightly disgusted. Sakakibara knew that her dislike was because she disliked him for saying those words just now and trying to take advantage of her. July is really cute like this. He was obviously dissatisfied with what he said, but because he loved himself very much in his heart, he only showed a little emotion on his face. Carried me. What are you talking about in July? Tian Haikaimingu withdrew her gaze from his face and crossed her hands on her chest. We are still 1 or 2 kilometers away from the cinema. I just ate and was tired from walking. Since you want to compensate me, then do it personally. Start, carry me over. Sakakibara smiled, I just ate a lot of spicy skewers, and I'm full. I don't care about that. You want me to carry it no matter what? I told you, I'm tired. Well, July is all about saving face and suffering. If you say to yourself like a ling, I want my brother to carry me, it doesn't mean that I won't be able to carry her. But think about it carefully, is Kyo using such a commanding tone to deliberately reduce his inner guilt? Because it was her order, the nature of compensation was highlighted even more. When he thought of this, Raku Sakakihara suddenly felt that the girl in a sky blue dress standing in front of him was 10,000 times more adorable. 7. Stop talking nonsense and carry me quickly. I'm tired from walking. Sakakihara Raku was stunned for a moment, then felt relieved, and took the initiative to come in front of her, squat down, and bend down. Before waiting for 5 seconds, a pair of thin, white arms wrapped around his neck and hugged him. The strength of Chi-Chi's hold on his neck was very light, not so tight as to tighten him. After making sure that she was firmly on his back, Sakakibara held her legs under her skirt with both hands and slowly stood up. I also tried to weigh it. Why does July feel lighter than before? I'm so angry with you. Then I need to eat well. I saw that after shopping for so long, you just had some milk tea and ice cream. Also, you don't have to focus on vegetarian dishes when eating on weekdays. You should also eat more meat. You say this like a sister. I'm your brother, right? Even though we're not biologically related, there doesn't seem to be any sworn brother-sister relationship between us. After carrying Kyo on his back, the sweet aroma of green apples could be faintly heard from behind. Probably because she was in the crowded food street, she looked a little uneasy and awkward on her back. It seemed that Chi-Chi just didn't like to show such a side outside. This is completely different from the usually arrogant Miss July 2nd. Let's go then? I'll carry you to the cinema. Even the voice that responded was very small. Carrying a beautiful girl on your back on the street is a very eye-catching thing. Some passers-by, out of concern and curiosity, would like to secretly take a look at the appearance and complexion of the girl on their back. Chi-Chi didn't like to be seen in public, so when she stayed on Sakakibara's back, she tried her best to bury her head in the back of his neck. Sakakihara Raku could feel the heat of her breath, the light weight on his body that only a girl could have. Thinking of the past. What? Tian Haikaimingu behind him didn't hear clearly, and his voice was still very low. I mean, I seem to have seen the little July from the past. Have you seen the past? I don't know that you just ate too much spicy skewers, and your head was so spicy that you said this to make me angry. Tian Haikaimingu was on his back, hugging his neck tightly. Nanamajetsu was extremely angry that Sakakibara forgot what they had experienced in the past. The fundamental reason is that he forgot the agreement between the two of them. Chi Minjio silently kept the friendship established between the two in her heart, but she regarded her as a little girl who met by chance, and any agreement was dispensable. Looking back now, Sakakihara Raku truly feels that it was a sin. Before Sakakibara Raku could reply, Nanamai put her cheek against the back of his neck again, closed her eyes, and said softly. However, I am not as angry now as before. Looking back carefully, I can also understand that our positions and feelings were different at that time. Brother, you had a complete family at that time, and you had a sister who spent a happy childhood with you. And I am just a child who was neglected by my mother. The encounter between my brother and me was just an episode on the road of life, and you don't need me to explain how I met my brother, do you understand? Of course I understand. He carried her home, gave her a bath, bandaged the wounds on her legs, made delicious fried rice for her, and then carried her to find the mother she missed so much. This was despite her being caught in the rain and sitting alone for most of the day. Warmth and longing. Sakakihara Raku could only describe his image in Xiaoqiu's eyes at that time. Now she is carrying the enlarged Qiu again, and her weight is once again pressing down on her back. This change of times is really confusing. Little Qiu is quite cute. Huh? How to say it? A little girl sat alone under that platform, covered in mud and injured, and her eyes were very dim. But after taking her home, giving her a bath, and giving her fried rice, she became special. Be well behaved. Thank you for remembering it. Sakakibara lifted the girl behind him upwards, looked at the fiery dusk above the end of the street, and said with a smile. Since that day, Xiaoqiu has come to see me frequently. By the way, Qiu, were you afraid of disturbing me before? When you first came to see me, you didn't dare to talk to me directly. After all, you didn't say that I could come to play with you in the future. So careful. I have no friends, and I don't know what friends are. My sister and I have never had contact with outsiders. Just like we are afraid that our mother will ignore us if we do something wrong, I am also afraid that if I do something wrong, you will ignore me. Auntie had strict control over you before you were 5 years old. Absolutely. After all, there are very few children who are gloomy by nature. My sister and I are able to follow orders and prohibitions. Naturally, we have been educated to live so happily. This was something I couldn't understand at the time. Belle. Indeed, she had the happiest time in her hometown. As soon as I got older, I started running around the house, getting to know other children in the village, and making mischief in the village all day long. It can be said that Ling was all smiles at that time. And July has always been in a gloomy state. Raku Sakakibara remembered seeing himself in the dream, and was particularly confused about July's situation. He believed that a little girl of this age and a particularly well-off family should not have such a character and reason. Qiu and Li Yulai can be so good and smart now. On the one hand, the aunt's management is strict, and on the other hand, the uncle also had a lot of control over them in the past. Not to mention the old man's requirements for his 2 granddaughters. They have received top elite education since childhood, which is more advanced and comprehensive. It's no wonder you're not tired from living such a life. It's been really hard on Chi-Chi and Li Yulai, you too. Tian Haikimingyu said, it's nothing. Isn't it precisely because of these things that my father chose to let go of my sister and me? Sakakibara tilted his head, pressed his cheek against Chi-Chi's leaning face, and said with a smile, Chi-Chi, what you said, if uncle doesn't agree, I'm afraid you won't be able to run all the way far away without saying anything. Go. Li Yulai may still be concerned about you, after all, no matter what you say, uncle is still your father. Tian Haikimingyu directly commented, my concept of family is not based on blood ties, but on the feelings between each other. But I am not without feelings for my father. I know that he does not know how to love his family. He is not without feelings. Love my sister and my heart. Well, that's true. By the way, if my uncle comes back from get off work one day and sees me holding you and Li Yulai at the same time on the sofa, will he be angry? What do you think? It's obvious. Sakakihara laughed uncontrollably. You feel happy when you talk about your sister, right? No, Just thinking about the scene makes me feel very sorry for my uncle. Besides, Sakakibara turned back and rubbed Chi-Chi's soft and smooth cheek. I really like you, Chi-Chi. Smooth-tongued. I must say the same thing when I'm with my sister. Definitely. After all, I said that my love for you should be equal. July. Do what? July month. The kid started acting like a spoiled brat again. I like you so much. If you say these boring words every day, no one will want to stay with you. Just watch the road with peace of mind. Don't keep turning your head when you cross a crossroads. Don't still yell when you hit a car. Would Chi-Chi feel bad if I crashed into the car? I can only say that it was a good collision. Then stay with me in the hospital for 10 days and a half, right? Carrying my girlfriend on my back, my heart felt as warm and sweet as eating honey. We were not far from the cinema entrance. Sakakihara originally planned to take Kyo to watch a horror movie and scare her in the middle. After all, he wanted to help her get the bottle of potion. But after visiting the food court with Chi-Chi, all the thoughts of trying to scare her were gone. I just want to stay with her and watch a movie sweetly and warmly. If Chi-Chi knew that he called her out in the first place to take her to watch a horror movie, he would probably be furious, right? Thinking of this, Sakakibara felt very sorry for Kyo who loved him so much. It seems that the potion can only be obtained next time when there is an opportunity. When I arrived at the theater, I bought 2 tickets for the 7 o'clock Barbie movie. While waiting for admission, Sakakibara squeezed Kyo's shoulders, bought cakes, and coffee to make her happy. These behaviors made Chi-Chi very weird. Why is this guy so attentive all of a sudden? July. What's wrong? Just tell me if you have anything to say. I'll tell you my initial thoughts, and you won't be angry. Tian Haikimingyu held the coffee cup and frowned. What do you want to do to me? It's just that I originally wanted to take you out to watch a horror movie or something to give you courage. Tian Haikimingyu was stunned for a moment, and then gave someone a roll of her eyes. Boring, my sister gave you a bad idea? So why did you change your mind now? After dating you in Kyoto, I feel that you love me too much in Kyoto. I can't bear to scare you like that. Didn't I love you before? I don't know what you are talking about. Tian Haikimingyu put down the coffee cup, looking a little angry. Are you angry in July? What do you think? I was wrong. I shouldn't have had pure motives from the beginning. Tian Haikimingyu gave him a roll of the eyes. The eldest lady was full of energy. You apologized quickly. Seeing as you did well today, you carried me to the cinema, squeezed my shoulders, bought me coffee, and confessed truthfully. For my own sake, I don't bother to worry about it that much. In addition, I'm not afraid of those things, I'm just disgusted by the superstitions of those gods and ghosts. In the past, people often used these things to deceive, and the ones who deceived the most were honest and ordinary people. Aren't you afraid of those things in July? Not afraid. Oh, little July. She is cute, but she likes to be tough on some inexplicable things. Then how about I rent a horror movie disc to go home, or let's go to the haunted house in the amusement park together. Anyway, didn't Chi-Chi say that she's not afraid? Tian Haikimingyu frowned again. Why are you so obsessed with horror movies? Get ready for Halloween. Otherwise, everyone will have fun by then. What if you are afraid of these things in July? You need to be brave in advance. Then we'll wait until Halloween arrives. Tian Haikimingyu glanced at the big screen above the cinema ticket counter and cleared her throat. Okay, it starts in 10 minutes, so go in and wait for the movie. Actually, Chi is afraid of ghosts, right? No means no. When queuing up to check in, Sakakibara looked back with a smile. I'm just afraid of ghosts. Stop talking nonsense and get in quickly.